One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. I believe we're on now. Yep, we're live. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the stream here. Welcome all. Welcome, guys. We're going to be discussing Trump's indictments and specifically the RICO case. And Mother of Dragons is joining us again. Hello there. Can you hear me well?
Oh, goodness. Do I have this glitch again?
Oh, no.
All right, hold on. I'm coming right back again.
All right,
I
go
can't
ahead.
hear you. Hold on.
This usually happens. It's okay. TikTok has these glitches, and we're sort of used to navigating through them, so it's totally okay. I mean, even my screen is glitching a little bit too, so bear with me here. Okay, let's see if we can bring her back now. Hello, how about now? 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good, I can hear you. Guys, Trump's indictments. Please smash the like button if you're watching this on YouTube and tap this screen if you're watching on TikTok. RICO, that's what we're going to be talking about, the RICO indictment. Let's get started. So how are you, Mother of Dragons?
I am well. How are you today?
Good, good. So this specifically, this indictment is, pulling it up here. This is in Georgia, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So first, can we, just for reference, what is, well, let me pull it up here, actually. The Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. That is the RICO, correct?
Yes.
So it says here, I just Googled that the Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act is a United States federal law that provides for extended criminal penalties and a civil cause of action for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal organization. So it's to pretty much go after the whole mob, if you will, correct?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
it sort of goes after an entire criminal enterprise. And usually what happens in that is what we usually are looking for is, some sort of concerted effort to concentrate criminal activity within a organization or a group. And this usually would consist of people that, in some way, shape, or fashion know one another or are seeking to have some sort of what we look for basically in a RICO is continuity. We look for something that is like a continued action and ongoing criminal activity. So you'll find things like money laundering, schmurder for hire. And I have to say schmurder because, you can't say the M word on TikTok.
Oh, that's a good one, Schmurder.
Yeah. Or unaliving, gambling, things like that. And so within...
And money laundering, you said, right?
Yeah, money
Yeah.
laundering. Those are usually the things that we see with that. So in this case, in Georgia statute, we're looking at a form of racketeering that's a felony. Sorry, I'm doing like 3 things at once. I meant to
Yeah, that's
say
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually seeing that it was not just President Trump, but it was also Rudy Giuliani and even Trump's attorneys too, correct? Some of them.
correct. Yeah, so there were 18 individuals, including Donald Trump, that were charged with a myriad of crimes. Trump was charged, according to the indictments, he was facing count 1, 5, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 27 through 29, and 38 through 39. And on the Fulton County Superior Court indictment, it lists what those particular state statutes are. And so we can see with Donald Trump, he's charged with most, if not, I would say the most of all of them. His first, so Rudy Giuliani, Charles Eastman, and yeah, so those three are the ones that are kind of charged with the most. And then you have someone named Ray Stallings. And then there's also a Michael Roman who's got some indictments as well. So
Got it. Username Stay Happy is saying this whole live feed is fake. So maybe his name should be Stay Sad, because maybe he's not ready for the facts that you're about to throw at him or her, MOD.
I don't know how it can be fake. You know, we're kind of real persons. We're not bots or anything like that. So that's
Oh man, what the things we got to read here on TikTok, right?
right.
So, do you mind by the way, do you have the charges, like the main charges for Trump there?
Yeah. So basically, he's facing count one, which is the violation of Georgia RICO, the Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. Count 5, which is the solicitation of a violation of oath by public officer. Count 9, which is the conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. Count 11, he's looking at a conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. Count 13 is conspiracy to commit false statements in writings. And then count 15, which is the conspiracy to commit filing false documents. And then count 17, which is the conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. Count 19 is conspiracy to commit false statements in writings. And then we'll go to counts 27 through 29 and 38 through 39. And 27 is going to be filing false documents. Count 28 is the solicitation of the violation of oath by public officer. Count 29 is false statements in writings. And then counts 38 through 39 are conspiracy to defraud the state. And not 37, that was 37, I'm sorry. Count 38 is solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, and count 39 is false statements in writings.
So this was a total of?
He's got a total of, let's see, that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he's facing 13 felony charges in the state of Georgia.
How sweet.
Oh, goodness.
So, okay, so which one do you want to go into first?
So I think to kind of cover the RICO charge kind of simply, and again, kind of to understand, and I think count 1 is kind of what everybody's hinging on, because the other counts have things to do with some of the documents and then some of the activity of others, right? So I think the most important thing to kind of focus on is the first charge, which is the RICO. And so we could see, so if we go to Georgia state statute, so the RICO charge is basically, it's a law in the state of Georgia that makes a form of racketeering a felony. And just to sort of define what racketeering is sorry, I'm getting my notes together here. I am so bad at this. Hold on.
It's okay, no problem. I can pull it up here. So racketeering, this is per Google, by the way, is a type of organized crime in which the persons set up a coercive, fraudulent, extraordinary, and otherwise illegal coordinated scheme or operation to repeatedly or consistently collect a profit.
Right. And then things that we can see like examples of racketeering would be like bribery, gambling, money laundering, obstruction of justice, or murder for hire, stuff like that. So those are what we kind of see, and we call that racketeering. It's in reference to it's an English word kind of meaning street gang activity, and this would be kind of the word that brings that to mind is kind of like making noise and kind of like doing things to like distract victims. So we started using that word during Prohibition time because what they would do during Prohibition is that when we had like things like speakeasies and things like that, because producing, consuming, and mass selling alcohol was prohibited at that time frame until we overturned that later on in the Constitution. But what they would do with speakeasies is they would kind of have a front. So they would have like a normal store, and then there'd be like a trap door. And then at nighttime, it turned into like a social club where they would sell alcohol, and people from all types of backgrounds, including police officers, mayors, city officials, and things like that. Even though it was a national standard to have that alcohol prohibited, this is what sort of kind of sparked the whole racketeering things, because it became a public nuisance. So alcohol became a public nuisance, amongst some other things, and I won't get into the nitty gritty of that, but became a hotbed or a scene of crime. So a lot of organized crime happened there. A lot of gangsters in the city would kind of gather there, including politicians. So that kind of had a pattern or form of corruption, especially when it comes to government officials. So when we kind of look at Donald Trump's charges, what they're basically saying is that there's a pattern of racketeering activity, and one of the most important things to note is that there has to be continuity. That's what we look at. We look at is there a demonstrated relationship and a threat of continuing activity. And so this is kind of sort of what they're alleging. So this is the Georgia Act was written to be a bit broader. And the federal act does require an extended pattern of criminal activity by multiple individuals. Under Georgia's act, it's a little different. Only one individual can actually constitute a criminal enterprise. So basically, a single individual can have a continued pattern of activity that would give rise to some form of racketeering or whatever, which is kind of silly, because if you kind of think about it, let's just say a person gets a DUI over and over and over again, right? We charge them under RICO in the state of Georgia. So if one person shows a pattern of criminal activity or corruption, we would charge that one person with RICO. And it just doesn't seem to fit the continuity or the federal standard. So this this kind of here is the way that the law is written, almost kind of gives the state of Georgia this unilateral power to sort of charge anybody with this, which is kind of scary. And at the same time, it kind of maybe just speaks to the corruption that goes on in, maybe there's a lot of corruption going on in Georgia that needs to be fixed, rather than just kind of throwing a law that
Maybe.
yeah.
You're being very modest.
I'm trying to be nice for TikTok.
Yes, we're trying to keep this streaming going. By the way, guys, this is all intended for entertainment purposes only and pure speculation. So go ahead, MOD.
So the enterprise as a whole has to actually commit only two interrelated crimes towards a common goal. So you only need two interrelated crimes. So you can have racketeering, you can have influence, and you can have corruption, or you can have a combination of both or all three, but you only need two, right? And it also gives a wider range of underlying crimes in the criminal act. So any violation of that act would be a felony. Trump will be facing 5 to 20 years in prison, a fine of 3 times the amount of any money gained from that criminal activity, but no less than $25,000 or both. So, which again, in the pretext of the law, in terms of RICO, we usually see something that requires a pecuniary profit or pecuniary gain. And in this case, in the indictment, we're not really seeing any sort of pecuniary gain with that. So that has pecuniary basically means anything consisting of money, right? And so what's largely missing out of this indictment so far is that element is missing. So what exactly are they saying Donald Trump actually did? So and that's why this charge this case is very, very confusing, because some of the elements of what we normally see with a typical RICO case, those elements are sort of missing. We don't see any continuity, and we don't see any form of pecuniary gain. So what exactly did Donald Trump do is the big question.
Yeah, maybe because he upset the establishment. Maybe because he won 2016 election. I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
Right.
But everything that you're saying, by the way, most of credible legal scholars have said it on national television. You know?
It's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even by the way, on some of these mainstream media networks, they have come up and said, like, what are we talking about here? You know, but the fact that it's been pursued, and it's the whole circus around it when he went in, and he turned himself in, and it was like a total mess. But the media is tell me what happened with Rudy Giuliani. Do you mind?
Yeah, so Rudy Giuliani, and I think we're talking about maybe the separate case of what happened with the two females that actually sued him for basically lying on them. And is that the case you're talking about? I just want to make sure.
Is that? But wait, because Giuliani was also charged in this one, correct?
Yeah, he was charged under this, but he did have a separate case involving the Georgia election, where he just had to pay some of about which we can call in the legal realm, sort of a civil death sentence.
Got it. And the second one, that's where he was found guilty, right?
Correct. Yeah. So
But in the first one, it's still ongoing.
correct. Right.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Right. So that's a separate case that he was charged in, or found civilly liable for, not necessarily charged, but the allegation is that two female poll workers were kind of going underneath tables and switching out ballots and doing some unscrupulous things. He had said some things about them in the media, made it seem as if they were, doing some things that are bad. And I do want to preface, I'm not a big Rudy Giuliani fan. I'm just not. I've never been a Rudy Giuliani fan. I was fine with what he did with 9/11. I think he did a fantastic job. He got international commendation over that for a number of years in his role in making sure that that New York was able to sort of recover, in a sense, from what had happened on 9/11. So I give him his props there, but kind of moving off of, kind of going afterwards, I always just found him not to be, he kind of seemed a bit unsavory to me, a bit self-serving. I think that, and I love Donald Trump, and I'll just say this, and I hope nobody gets upset with me, but I think one of Donald Trump's biggest flaws is that he has a tendency to trust the wrong people. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he's bad at what he does. I think that he sees a lot of good in people, and maybe that when maybe knowing Giuliani for a while, had worked with him in New York, and then working with him in a different capacity. I mean, think about it. Donald Trump had made basically international headlines. He was the first president in history to be like he was a business owner, or really a nobody in the political realm. But he was somebody in celebrity status. So Rudy Giuliani and him probably had some dealings in the past, being that he had a lot of his businesses in New York, and maybe he felt like he could trust them. And Giuliani, was there to sort of help Trump and, try to be a part of his organization. But I always found him to be a bit self-serving.
Well, and it's like you mentioned, Giuliani had this amazing track record with 9/11. So, and Trump, yeah, he seems like the kind of guy that really loves to give people a chance.
Right. He absolutely does. And
Yeah.
to his detriment, obviously. And I see that he's pretty much sort of distanced himself from Giuliani. So, subsequently after, saying what he said about these women, which if it's true, I mean, I don't agree with it. He was accusing them of basically sort of committing fraud, and it ruined their lives. So he ended up being found civilly liable, where he had to pay, I think it was like $250 million, which is a lot of money. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot of money to someone who isn't necessarily getting any jobs, anytime soon. So that I mean, he's going to be paying that for the rest of his life, unless it's
Right.
$250 million just sitting around.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. So then going back to Trump's RICO case, right? So you see a lot of weakness there.
I do. And a lot of the people that were involved in this, so you've got Jenna Ellis, Kenny Chesborough, you've got Michael Roman, some of the names that kind of stick out here, Sidney Powell. And a lot of these people, people keep saying, oh, these people flipped on Trump. Well, precluding any of the Donald Trump's actual court case, which hasn't been adjudicated. We're actually, some of the news that's out there, we're looking like we may not see anything on movement on this case until 2025. And then we've got some recent developments with that. We can kind of get to that later. But Donald Trump is not even looking at a court case, but he also does have people that have already taken plea deals in these cases for lesser charges. So let's look at like Jenna Ellis for example. Jenna Ellis was a lawyer that worked on his campaign, and she was charged. She's one of the defendants in the RICO case, and Jenna Ellis had actually pled guilty, and she so give me 1 second to look it up.
Yeah, let me know if you want me to follow. I would like to follow along. Let me know what you would like me to Google.
Yeah, so if you look up Jenna Ellis, Georgia case, and we can go to NPR because New York Times always makes you try to pay something.
Okay, is this the one that says ex-Trump attorney
Yeah,
Jenna Ellis pleads guilty in Georgia election interference case?
right.
This is the NPR website.
Yeah, and
Okay.
using lefty sources kind of pisses them off a little bit. But so Ellis was the fourth defendant in the case. She pleaded guilty to the broad racketeering case, sort of focused on keeping Donald Trump in office. That's what the allegation is. So the lawyers, Kenny Chesborough and Sidney Powell, also entered guilty pleas before their trial was set to begin. And then there was another guy, Scott Hall, a bail bondsman, that was found guilty or pleaded guilty in September. So in exchange for a truthful testimony at future trials, she pleaded guilty to one felony count of aiding and abetting false statements and writings. And then she had been charged with 2 counts, including racketeering. And she basically did a plea deal, which included 5 years probation and $5,000 in restitution to the Georgia Secretary of State's office, 100 hours of community service, and a letter of apology to the people of Georgia. And they're saying that her charge stems from December 3rd, where subcommittee hearing of the Georgia Georgia Senate Judiciary Committee, where Rudy Giuliani and Ray Smith had made a litany of false claims about election fraud. They're saying, and Giuliani and Smith are both sort of defendants in the case, where they asserted that there was tens of thousands of minors, felons, and dead people that voted in the 2020 election. So Jenna Ellis pleaded guilty to aiding his testimony, which prosecutors were saying was intended to convince the legislature to disregard Biden's victory in Georgia. So they're alleging basically that she made false statements, that none of this was true. And this was like, she was just complicit in spreading lies and tried to convince the Georgia state legislature to sort of throw out the votes when they went to go and do the electoral, when they stood before the electors go and, certify their votes for the state.
So she pled guilty for aiding. the testimony of Giuliani and Smith, just to summarize here what you said, that apparently tens of thousands of minors, felons and people, unalived people, or unalived people, voted in Georgia's 2020 election.
Right. So
Okay, and then we saw that footage where she was crying in the courtroom, correct?
correct. Right.
Yeah.
So in Georgia, this would be someone who's like knowingly or willingly falsifying or concealing or sort of covering up any trick or scheme or device material, make false or fictitious fraudulent statements, knowing that they were false. And
So then, at that point, the left would be like, well, there you go.
yeah,
She's guilty, and this is all a lie. So
oh yeah.
so that means Trump is guilty, no?
Yeah,
So what say you?
Trump is guilty, and her actions. Obviously, Trump wasn't there, and during this entire case or whatever that they had against Jenna Ellis, obviously, what she was supposed to do is she was going to be used as a witness, and basically she promised to sort of exchange that for a truthful testimony. So basically, they're saying, "Oh, Jenna Ellis flipped because she took a plea deal." Well, she was facing a very, very long time in prison. But one of the things that this does, and along with the other people that sort of started taking plea deals for lesser charges, what it sort of does is starts to sort of kind of like separate the whole criminal enterprise organization type thing that we usually typically see in a RICO. So, and what we usually see is all of these defendants, if they start taking plea deals kind of all over the place, which is pretty typical, you'll start seeing that, and you'll start seeing people flip on each other. But never in her plea deal agreement did she ever, say that she was going to testify against Trump. She was only required to give truthful testimony. So people kind of have to understand what that means. Had she flipped on Trump, what probably would have happened is a part of her plea deal would have been to testify against Trump. And we would have seen maybe something like a scheduled deposition later on where she would give some sort of testimony, or she would have submitted to the court, her own statements about what Donald Trump had done, or whatever the case may be. But we didn't see any of that. All they asked her to do was, hey, be honest when you get on the stand. So this whole thing about, all of them flipped on Trump, that's absolutely false. None of them promised to tell on Trump. They only promised that they would not perjure themselves in court, essentially.
So then, so in her deal, there was no mentioning of her testifying against Trump in the future?
No, that's usually never a part of the deal unless the person is voluntarily telling the prosecution, listen, I have information about such and such, and we usually give them a piece of paper and then they write it down and we submit that as evidence. And so they would be called to the stand as a witness for the prosecution. And in this case, that did not happen. There is no schedule as far as we know. In Trump's case, we don't even have a list of potential witnesses in the case yet. So there's no way in the world to sit here and say that Jenna Ellis is on this list of witnesses. It's just that if they need her to come up and say something, that she will be truthful on the stand. So what people are on the left are probably thinking is that because she was charged with uttering false statements, then she cannot say that the election was stolen, or she cannot say this, or she cannot say that. And therefore she'll get on the stand and say, hey, I don't believe that the election was stolen, because that's all people kind of want to hear in this case. And that's kind of what the leftist keeps pushing is like, are you, and every time I talk to people on the left, they're like, are you going to accept the outcome of the election? And I like what Donald Trump said when that one CNN reporter, when he was on stage at one time and he pulled out the receipts, and she asked him, so are you going to accept the outcome of the election if you lose? He said, yeah, if they're fair and honest, sure. But if they're not, and, she kept pressing him on the question. But I mean, that's exactly true. That's the way someone should answer. You just want us to go ahead and just take it. Even though we believe this to be a lie, we're just supposed to just going ahead and let you get away with whatever you want to get away with just because you don't believe that it was. Well, if we believe that it was, that's not necessarily a crime. And when a person's on the stand, we're looking for them to tell the truth. And if there was evidence presented that was to the contrary, that that person knew that they were making those false statements, then how are we assigning guilt to someone without a prudent really search and understanding of whether they know or have knowledge of the situation? So
Yeah, and just I want to add to that. Let me just read her statement here, where we saw her crying in the court. This is on the NPR website as well, and I quote. Excuse me, my screen went up. Okay, and I quote: "What I did not do." Excuse me. Let me start. This is the beginning quote. "The false statements were made with reckless disregard for the truth." Prosecutor Daisha Young said at Tuesday's plea hearing. And then Ellis began to cry, and she addressed the court. "What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true," Ellis said. The quote continues. "In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges." So what say you about that, MOD?
So I think it's very important to know here that Jenna Ellis is being very, very careful not to sort of give the prosecution or maybe even the public what they were seeking or what they were trying to allege that she's saying here. She's not saying that she believes that the election wasn't stolen. That's not what she's saying. What she's basically saying is I should have done my due diligence and making sure what they were saying was actually true or false, and I shouldn't have represented them unless I didn't really do my due diligence to find out. I just sort of believed my client and went on ahead and did what I did. She's not outright denying that the election wasn't stolen. And she's not out. I mean, she's not out denying that the election was stolen, but she's also not out directly supporting the idea that it wasn't. So she's being very, very careful here, which is smart. She is an attorney, and she's being very, very careful here with her words. So I think the best.
She's sort of playing both sides a little bit, no?
Yeah, well, you could say that. I mean, look at the time she was facing in prison. It could have also been to her detriment. She could also lose her law license for this. She could be brought up on review. She could really lose her livelihood. And any chances that she may get in the future of having a livelihood are going to be for naught. So in cases like this, especially in a felony case where you kind of want to make sure you have some sort of future in mind, a person, one might think, you know what, a plea deal may not be half bad, because if I do go through this case and the likelihood of me being, missing out on work, I'm not able to move on with my life. She may have children, a family, a husband, things like that. So taking the plea deal doesn't always mean that you have something to offer. I saw someone's comment say that. And that does not necessarily mean that she's actually guilty of anything. She's just taking responsibility of the fact that she didn't do her due diligence and making sure that what was said was true or false. And she never flat out came out and said that, oh, what they said was actually false and I'm guilty of that. So she's taking some form of responsibility for not doing her due diligence as an attorney. And like I said, she could have a lot more to lose had she gone through a trial and lost her livelihood or been at risk of losing a law license or anything else like that. So it's understandable why she would have done that.
Got it. The thing is that the mainstream media took this and they played it over and over and over again, saying, you see, all these claims about the election is completely false. By the way, guys, this is intended for entertainment purposes only and pure speculation, but you know exactly what I mean. So MOD, when it comes to the Georgia claims about the voting situation, what have you heard or any evidence have come out at all about Georgia?
So I I think it's important to remember that everything that they're sort of alleging, the whole fake elector scheme, the whole plot, which I'll be honest with you, I'm still very kind of at a miss as to what they're sort of alleging here. If which is also kind of this whole case kind of sort of escapes me, because if this happened in Georgia, it seems as if reading through the indictment that we have a lot of these things that were taken outside of the state of Georgia. And I'll point you to the actual indictments. I don't know if you have that pulled up.
Let me know where you want me to go.
Give me one
I know
second.
you emailed me as well.
Yes.
Is that where you want me to go, or another website?
The email that I sent you with the link.
Let's see. You sent me one with sources, and then the other one about a Twitter video.
Yeah, so the first email that I sent, so number 2, what were the allegations against Trump? So you can click on that, and that's the link to the indictment PDF.
Let's see. What are the allegations? I got it. Okay, I found it. Yep. And this is on cloudfront.net.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have it here pulled up.
All right. So in the pretext of this, it says in the introduction, it talks about Donald Trump losing the election. It says that the other defendants.
By the way, Madi, if you do want to show it on your screen, I can pull out the big box. You don't have to, but if you want to.
Oh, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
No, I'm saying if you want to, I'm not sure if you want to point the camera at your laptop or your desktop. I could put the big screen for you so the audience can see what you're reading.
Yeah, I gotcha. No problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had cut out there for a moment. All right, let me see. I'm going to turn my little camera around here. All right. So since Blaze said I was ignoring evidence, I'm actually looking at the indictment. I don't think I've even refuted anything yet. I think we're just talking about what's actually in the indictment so far.
Yeah, exactly. Which I love, by the way.
Right. So,
this is exactly what we want. We want to pull up the source and not just talk out of,
yeah,
you know where.
We're literally just talking about it. We haven't even brought up any of the evidence yet. So it talks about how he tried to, change the outcome of the election in favor of Trump, and the conspiracy contained a common plan and a purpose to commit 2 or more acts of racketeering. So this is right here, we know that this is a requirement under Georgia state law that you only need 2 or more acts of racketeering activity in Fulton County and then elsewhere in the state of Georgia. Now, problem being is that Fannie Willis only has jurisdiction over Fulton County. So this would be a state case. So as assistant district attorney for the state of Georgia, this would be the state of Georgia against Donald Trump as co-defendants. So we really can't even focus on any of the activity outside of Fulton County. We can only focus here because anything happening elsewhere in the state of Georgia and in other states do not matter.
And that's because of her jurisdiction?
Yeah, she only has jurisdiction. You can only charge someone pertaining to the scene of the crime. But if we yeah, go ahead.
But then why would this be allowed? Well, so she's taking over the state as well at this point in this particular case.
She has jurisdiction over Fulton County. So
right.
So the way that this kind of works, so like I was assistant county attorney, and there was like 12 of us, right? We were all assistants. We worked for behalf of the state within the particular county to bring state cases to court. So the way that this would work is that she would have a jurisdiction over Fulton County. She was an elected official in Fulton County. So the residents of Fulton County elected her as their representative to bring cases in the state of Georgia for Fulton County, just like Cobb County, Decatur, all of those other, or DeKalb County, they all have their own ADAs. So what's really, really interesting about this is that as we kind of read through it, we're going to see a lot of things that actually took place out of state. And I haven't...
Wait, out of the state of Georgia or out of the Fulton County?
Out of the state.
Out of the state too?
Out of state. Yes.
Oh,
Which I think that at some point I do think that the judge sort of admonished some of this in an earlier kind of briefs. I unfortunately did not pull it up, so I think maybe next time, maybe tomorrow. I think if we like go back,
sure.
I can
Yeah, we can do it tomorrow too.
and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So this is really, really interesting. So if we look at this part, it talks about the criminal organization constituted an enterprise, as the term is defined in the Georgia statute. So this is the Georgia Code. And this is the individuals associated, in fact, so the defendants and other members and associates of this enterprise. And it's very important to note that they are continuously calling them an enterprise because they want to connect their relationships together, and they want to also prove continuity. Again, which is something that's severely lacking in this case, but we'll get to that in a moment. And the relationships with one another and the enterprise. So the enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members and associated associates function as a continuing unit. So here they're alleging continuity for common purpose for achieving the objectives of the enterprise. Now, it doesn't tell us here what the objective was of the enterprise, but we could see earlier that the objective was to overturn the election, which unfortunately doesn't give us much in by way of continuity. Because what they're saying here is that false statements in writings, impersonating a public officer, forgery, filing false documents, influencing witnesses, computer theft, computer trespass, computer invasion, privacy, conspiracy to defraud the state, acts involving theft and perjury. And what we see, unfortunately, with all of these cases is some of the defendants in this case, and even one of the defendants actually wasn't even there in the state of Georgia, and they actually charged him. A friend of mine, his name is Eddie. He's another attorney. He's actually working on his case actively. I just talked to him like the other day, and he's doing very well. So he's actually a liberal, and he's actually on the side of the defendant in this case, because he doesn't think that that they should be charging him. So which is, like I said, which is really, really interesting. So if you look here, the enterprise operated in Fulton County, Georgia, and the buck should stop here, right? But sometimes when we want to, if we're talking about a RICO charge, we kind of want to prove continuity, right? So now they're going to allege that it happened elsewhere in the state of Georgia and other states, including but not limited to Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and the District of Columbia. And the enterprise operated for a period of time sufficient to permit its members and associates to pursue its objectives. The only problem with this is that they're talking about a 3-month span. This is from November to December, basically, or just a month. Not 3 months, I'm sorry, just a month. So I'm trying to understand, I'm failing to see where the continuity requirement for that is. And I'll take you to this really quick. So if you look at what is a pattern of racketeering activity, and it says here that there has to be a demonstrated a relationship, right, and the threat of continuing activity. If it was to overturn the election, and even if they're alleging January 6th of 2021, which they can't do because that would be under federal jurisdiction, and we can get to that a little bit later, it doesn't make any sense because here we have the Supreme Court set forth the relationship plus continuity requirements in order to find a PORA, right? So a pattern of racketeering activity. Regarding relationship, the court stated that the pattern is an arrangement or order of things or activity. It is not the number of predicates, but the relationship that bear to each other to some external organizing principle, and that renders them ordered or arranged. Now, the court determined in a case, in this case right here, this case law, it pointed to the legislative history of RICO, which indicates that Congress intended RICO to cover the diversified criminal activities of organization, right? So in this same case, so we're looking at this case here and specifically describe continuity as both closed and open-ended concept. Now, regarding a closed-ended continuity, the court determined that the party alleging RICO must demonstrate continuity over a closed period by proving a series of related predicates extending over a substantial period of time. So the courts have generally found that when analyzing the close-ended continuity requirement, the conduct lasting less than 1 or 2 years is not sufficient to satisfy the continuity requirement. So we have a problem here. We have Supreme Court ruling here that in a close-ended continuity, not even 1 to 2 years actually is sufficient enough to prove the continuity requirement. Now, regarding the threat of continuity, the court stated that proving this sub-element depends on the specific facts of each case, and the court set forth, for some examples, one way it's related, the predicates themselves involve a distinct threat of a long-term racketeering activity, either implicit or explicit, such as threats which include a specific threat of repetition extending indefinitely into the future. That obviously does not describe anything that happened in Donald Trump's case here, because if we go back to the indictment, we're looking at the pattern activity since November 30th of 2020, and Trump by January 6th of 2021 or January 20th of 2021, he would have been out of office or would have stayed in office. So then you would have to prove that that pattern was actually going to continue had he been successful. And it doesn't seem that way. So if they're only alleging that this happened over a certain time period, this doesn't make any sense.
And so, I mean, they have to know this, obviously. Do you think it was they just totally didn't care, or is just sort of an agenda to pursue this? Or are they that incompetent?
I think it's a combination of that. So again, here they're alleging the 2020 until
what page is that, by the way?
2022. This is right at the so this is page 13 here.
13.
Yeah, and they're saying that just falls short of the 2-year time period requirement. So again, we're not seeing continuity in just understanding RICO charges. And I've been party to RICO charges before, sitting co-chair on some of these cases. These sort of patterns of activity that we're seeing, and the continuity, threat of continuity, and anything else like that, the pecuniary gain, all of these elements are missing. And again, we understand Georgia state law is very, very broad, and it kind of gives more kind of a wider range of criminal activity that they're looking for. But the elements of racketeering do not exist, because we have to remember racketeering is the first charge that Donald Trump is being charged with, and pecuniary gain is a crucial element of racketeering. This is why racketeering is called racketeering. We're not seeing pecuniary gain, and we're not seeing continuity. Therefore, I'm really finding this to be a weak case. And some of the other legal scholars have also raised these arguments as well. And this is part of the reason why they're saying that these cases are pretty weak.
Very weak. And I'm glad that you're breaking it down, because, yeah, that's what I've been reading on and watching. Similar details as you're sharing here, that it seems very weak. But can you talk to me about Phony Willis? I mean, excuse me. Sure. Did I say phony? I meant Fanny. My bad.
I'm gonna switch some stuff around here. I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to see me switch my screens around.
Yeah. I don't know why I said Phony Willis. Excuse me. I meant Fanny Willis. Do you mind? Please, do you have any information on her? What's going on with her? What's her background, or anything at all?
Information.
Yeah, I've heard some things about some alleged affair, some weird billings information, some crazy amounts of taxpayer dollars being spent on this case. And please, do you have any details?
Oh man. So basically, let me get ready for this, because this is going to be a wild ride. So kind of, where should we start here?
Well, let's see. So this is what this I'm sure I'm saying you, the audience, have heard, because I know MOD knows about this already. But so apparently there is a little scandal going on with Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. That's his name, correct?
Nathan Wade.
Nathan Wade.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
So
correct me if I'm wrong, but an attorney of one of the defendants got a tip by someone that supposedly and allegedly Willis and Nathan have been in a romantic relationship inappropriately
oh
because
baby.
of the circumstances of the case.
Yes.
And apparently, this attorney saw or read the divorce lawsuit between Nathan and his soon ex-wife to be, where supposedly that lawsuit confirms that Willis and Wade are in a relationship. Is that correct?
Yes. So so here it is. So now we get to after Donald Trump is found he's charged and everything like that. And there's some what's really important to note. So before just really quickly before we get to that, Jim Jordan, August 24th. So the charges come out against Trump in August of 2023. Jim Jordan goes right to work. He fires off a letter to Fannie Willis, and he's like, "Look, Fannie, we've got a problem here, and the problem is you."
Who is, just for context, who is Jim Jordan, by the way?
Jim Jordan is the great House of Representatives from my great state of Ohio. Like I said, everything great comes out of Ohio, and Jim Jordan fires off this letter to Fannie Willis, and he tells Fannie, "Listen, lady, you charged Donald John Trump with a litany of charges, and we want to know you brought a 41 count indictment against 19 defendants, which is the former president of the United States and declared candidate for the office for the president of the United States, his attorneys, White House chief of staff, former DOJ officials, related to the 2020 election. You're claiming that they're a criminal enterprise. You've identified a number of acts that you claim were, committed in this. They also allege that in this letter, he says, well, here, if you want to put me in the big box, yes, the great state of Ohio.
Let's do it.
All right.
Totally Rocco is saying, Happy Wednesday, beautiful people. Happy Wednesday to you, totally. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the letter from Jim Jordan. So this is the House of Representatives. He fires off this letter and he's like, look, lady, all this shit's going on. You told us that the then White House chief of staff asking a member of Congress for the phone number for the Speaker of the House, Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and then the president, then president, tweeting the hearings of the Georgia's legislature were being aired on a news station and commenting on those hearings. Numerous acts taking place in other states not involving the conduct of the 2020 election or the counting votes cast in Georgia. Your indictment and prosecution implicate substantial federal interests, and the circumstances surrounding your actions raise serious concern about whether they're politically motivated. So he's pissed. He's like, look, you've got some shit going on, and we want to know about it. And so just so you all know, the states, the Congress has the power to subpoena and anything with federal interest, including any member of the government that is involved in any sort of, if there's government funds, anything else like that. They're not interfering with the investigation. The Constitution affords them investigative powers to do so. They have every right to do so. And there is no law preventing that. And they can recommend charges to the DOJ. This was in his right to do so. And so, no.
Username The Real Gordon is saying, how does the House of Representatives have any authority over local indictments?
They can absolutely have asked questions and ask for an inquiry, and they can request documentations pertaining to that, because he tells you right here, these have substantial federal interest, and these circumstances surrounding them raise some serious questions about their political motivation. So they can do an inquest to anything that they want to. The
Right.
Congress
They're
is
just
the
looking
people.
into it, correct?
Right. Congress is the people, and the people can actually petition their government, right? We could petition our government, and if anything seems to be politically motivated, they can absolutely do it. And they did. They ignored the subpoena, but I don't think they're going to get away with that long, because some of the new stuff that's come to light, Jim Jordan's not playing with this lady. So they talk about the first question is noteworthy that just 4 days before this indictment, you launched a new campaign fundraising website that highlighted your investigation into Donald Trump. The four women of the special grand jury you convened to investigate Donald Trump earlier this year bragged about an unusual media tour, about her excitement at the prospect of subpoenaing President Trump and getting to swear him in. Last week, the Fulton County Superior Clerks publicly released a list of criminal charges against President Trump, reporting hours before the vote of the grand jury. Fulton County Court had disqualified you from targeting current Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones as part of your probe on the grounds that you likely supported and held fundraising event for his Democratic opponent. And unlike officials in other jurisdictions, Fulton County officials have suggested that they will process the former president as a criminal defendant, requiring mugshots and even a cash bond. So they're asking, listen, the timing of this prosecution is raising concerns about your motivation. Talks about in February of 2021, news outlets reported that you directed your office to open an investigation into President Trump sometime around February 11th, 2021. And your office purportedly sent a letter to several Republicans in Georgia requesting that they preserve documents relating to the matter of high priority, and then your office was investigating, yet you did not bring charges until 2.5 years later, at a time when the campaign for the Republican presidential nomination is in full swing. Moreover, you have requested that the trial in this matter begin March 4th, the day before Super Tuesday, 8 days before the Georgia presidential primary. It is therefore unsurprising that you may have speculated that this indictment and prosecution are designed to interfere with the 2024 election. So he's bringing up some very, very valid complaints here. And he's like, look, tell us, is this a valid investigation, or are you trying to interfere? Right. So the kind of the list goes on with some of the things that he's alleging. And I'm sorry, this document, every time I click on this thing, it takes forever to pull up. It always takes forever to pull up.
It's all good.
Yeah, so here, one of the most important things, the first thing that they talk about is all the documents and communications referring to or related to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office receipt and use of federal funds. So this is why, because they hold the bag. They want to know, hey, if we gave you money and you used it to indict a former U.S. president to interfere with an election, we have a problem with that. They want to know, did they talk to the DOJ? Any of these things. Any of the communications between the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, the federal executive branch of your office investigating Donald Trump, or any of the 18 other individuals. And they wanted it no later than September 7th of 2023, no later than 10 a.m. And pursuant to Rule X of the Rules of the House of Representatives, the committee has jurisdiction over criminal matters in the United States. And they do. So there it is, Gordon. Pursuant to Rule X of the Rules of the House of Representatives, the committee has jurisdiction over criminal matters in the United States.
And as you said, they are the people, right? That's why they are there, to represent the people. Yeah.
Yep.
And we have the right to look into anything in regards to the government.
Correct. So I'm going to see if I can go on my own page from my other account. Give me 1 second, because I actually had a video that actually shows this, and I meant to send it to you. I'm going to see if I can go on my own page from my other account.
Sure.
To look at my own video.
No problem.
And I actually made a montage video of kind of all of these things. And the video kind of outlines and kind of underscores exactly what's happening. To understand what's happening right now with Fani Willis and her lover, we kind of have to go back a little bit. So Jim Jordan essentially is saying, like, we're having an issue here. We've got some information that you might have talked to Jack Smith, that you might have, sort of engaged in getting witness testimonies from January 6th, something that would be unrelated to anything of that nature. So, okay, I think I found it. Okay, let me go to my
So
own.
she tried to get testimony from people from January 6th, or she actually got him?
So that's what they're alleging, and they wanted her to sort of bring to the table, not sort of her evidence, but they wanted her to sort of, they wanted to see who she had been talking to, and had she colluded with the president of the United States, had she talked to Jack Smith and gathered evidence outside of the jurisdiction to bring to Georgia to try to bring charges. And this is a big no-no. We don't go out of state to find evidence in something that's supposed to. If it happened in Fulton County, it should be charged in Fulton County, and the evidence should be coming from something that happened in Fulton County. And I've got the video. All right.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Yeah. So very quickly, I won't play the whole thing unless you want me to. It's a few minutes long here. It's about 6 minutes long. I don't have to play the whole thing.
Oh, if we can just play maybe like a minute and a half, it'll be great.
Sure. So this is really, really important because the first part of this is Newt Gingrich, and the video that I sent you is the first part of that. So Newt Gingrich is talking to Charlie Kirk, and he's part of the House. He would have been part of the Judiciary Committee that was investigating this, because they wanted to know, who does she speak with, and who went to the White House, because we do know, according to this motion that was filed by Michael Roman's attorney, that they are alleging that either Fannie Willis or both, and we do have proof within the body of that motion that she did visit the White House to meet with Kamala Harris. And we know that Nathan Wade traveled to Washington, D.C. But listen very, very closely to what Newt Gingrich says here.
I am told by a reliable source that Friday evening somebody from Washington called the district attorney in Atlanta and said, "You have to indict on Monday. We have to cover up all of the mistakes we just made with Weiss." And she said, apparently, "My jurors aren't coming back till Tuesday." They said, "You didn't hear me. You have to indict on Monday." And she said, "Well, they're not going to get here before noon." They said, "It doesn't matter." She said, this means it's going to be 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night." I said, "It doesn't matter. We need the news media shifting off of
Who made that phone call?
We don't know. And I'm telling you up front, this is hearsay, but it's from a person who has remarkably good sources.
I totally believe it, though, because that would explain why they leaked and they messed up on the clerk document, why she was exhausted, and why they had the 11 p.m. press conference, Mr. Speaker.
Asking DA Fannie Willis to turn over all documentation relating to her use of federal funds and her communications with Joe Biden's Department of Justice and other officials in the executive branch of our federal government. And remember, she refused to answer that question about whether or not she had coordinated with the special counsel.
The second move today by Willis, just this afternoon, the DA rebuffed House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan's request for documents for his attempt to investigate Fannie Willis. In a scathing letter, Willis says Jordan lacks a full basic understanding of the law.
Sean, did you coordinate with the Biden administration, the same administration who's indicted their general election opponent in D.C. and Miami already? Did you coordinate with them? Did you work with Jack Smith? Look at the same witnesses. What did any coordination there? And did you use federal funds as part of this investigation? We asked these same questions of Alvin Bragg a few months ago, and he in fact did use American tax dollars to go after President Trump in Manhattan. And oh, by the way, Alvin Bragg sued us, and we subpoenaed one of those prosecutors up there in Manhattan. He sued us. We went to court, and the court ruled for us. So we're going to be just as aggressive here. We're going to do it within the Constitution, but we're going to do our duty to get the answers the American people deserve for this ridiculous indictment that's taking place in Georgia.
So shortly after this happened, right? So shortly after this happened, she goes on the offense, or she goes on the defense and goes, all right. So she threatens Jim Jordan and says to him, listen, bro, basically, you are obstructing justice, or you're interfering with a criminal investigation or anything else like that. So Jim Jordan goes, yeah, okay, lady, whatever. So he kind of stammers off of her a little bit, but Jim Jordan is not relenting with this, because this was just a few months ago. And so now what we're seeing is and if you want, you could put me back in the big box. Now we can actually go to the Mr. Roman's thing here, where there was a case filed where the defendant, Michael Roman, is saying he needs to dismiss the grand jury indictment on fatally defective and motion to disqualify the district attorney, her office, and the special prosecutor from further prosecuting this matter.
Where do
And
I find this, by the way? Do you email me this?
I think so. Hang on, let me see. Hang on one second.
Or let me know how to Google it so I can follow along.
Oh yeah, so that's number 3.
Number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Number 3 on the email.
Got it. Okay. And this is on fultonclerk.org. That's the website. And the title of it is Roman, Dismissal and Disqualification Motion, January 8, 2024, final.
Yeah, so in this motion now, just to kind of put this into perspective, they don't have any substantial evidence, but when this, so this is the motion in this case, right? And so basically they filed it with the clerk's office, and they want the judge to hear this motion. It's very well possible that the judge could be like, look, I'm not hearing this shit. I really don't care. But it could, go on the docket to later on be heard in front of a judge, and they may be able to present evidence in this motion, and they may, be, sort of asking her what's going on. And I did hear as of recently, I think they are actually going to hear this. So this is going to be very, very interesting. And basically what he's alleging in this here is that he's saying that pursuant to the 5th and the 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution, Section 1, Article 1, Section 1, Paragraph 1, and I can't read Roman numerals, but you see those sections. I'm so bad with Roman numerals. Of the Georgia Constitution, the inherent supervisory of this court, the Georgia rules of professional responsibility, and other laws set forth herein, moves this honorable court in order striking the special purpose grand jury report and dismissing the criminal indictment in its entirety against Mr. Roman on the grounds that the entire prosecution is invalid and unconstitutional, but because the Fulton County District Attorney never had legal authority to appoint a special prosecutor who assisted in obtaining both grand jury indictments. And then as a result, both indictments contain structural errors and irreparable defects and should be dismissed in their entirety against Mr. Roman. Now, Mr. Roman moves the court to order to disqualifying the district attorney and her office and the special prosecutor from further prosecuting this instant matter on the grounds that the district attorney and the special prosecutor engaged in an improper clandestine personal relationship during the pendency of the case, which has resulted in the special prosecutor and in turn district county attorney from profiting significantly from the prosecution at the expense of the taxpayers. So they're
Okay,
saying,
so hold on, because there's 2 things mentioned here. So we got the relationship that you mentioned right now, but at the beginning of it, he said that let me see, let me go back to that part. Okay, the Fulton County District Attorney never had legal authority to appoint the special prosecutor. So as a DA, you don't have the legal authority to appoint a special prosecutor?
so usually when we see with the special prosecutor, so this is usually someone that's appointed by the court. But in some jurisdictions, the ADA or the DA is allowed to hire a special prosecutor, but it has to be, number one, they have to be sworn in. They take a special oath. It's called a loyalty oath. And you are usually, you're usually hired using county funds, and that usually has to be approved by a board of commissioners. So it's just like hiring an independent attorney that does not work for the state of Georgia. So it's not like any other barred attorney. You can't just, basically, in other words, you can't just walk into a courtroom and go, yeah, I'm a prosecutor for the state of Georgia. No, 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 no. You have to be registered with the Supreme Court of that state, number one, as all attorneys are required. Number two, you have to be sworn in. And number three, it has to be authorized by the governing body, according to the
So,
state
so this never happened with
never
Nathan?
happened. So I
Really?
yeah. So I do want to preface the fact that I do believe that this matter, part of the matter, as far as him filing, because he did eventually file this, but this came off almost after a year and a half of him working as a special prosecutor, issuing subpoenas and all of that. And when at the time that he was indicted, he did not file the proper paperwork with the court. Now I think that the judge kind of sort of was like, okay, well, it's a technicality, but I don't know if the judge is actually, and I do believe the judge, that's not the issue, that it was filed late, but that doesn't necessarily excuse the fact that the case is severely compromised at this point, especially if they're alleging that he had no authority to do it in the first place. Now, he's filed the paperwork now. Can he still act as a special prosecutor? Sure, but it was filed almost 2 months before the end of the deadline of the contract.
Interesting. See, that part I wasn't aware. I was aware, by the way, this is per the New York Post, that Trump's prosecutor, Nathan Wade, splurged on lavish trips with Phony Willis. Excuse me, why do I keep saying phony? Fannie Willis. Well, oh, man, I'm not sure what's going on here. With Willis, while ex-wife, Nathan's ex-wife, struggled without any means of financial support. So this is per the New York Post. But then additionally, I also came across this. So this is per CNN, by the way. You guys can look it up. So it says, one line stood out. This is part of the article, somewhere in between. One line stood out to multiple lawyers who reviewed Wade's billing document included in the motion filed by Roman, which I'm sure maybe you're going to bring it up here. So on November 5th, 2021, Wade billed the Fulton County DA for 24 hours in a day at $250 per hour. That's ridiculous, Fulton County criminal defense attorney Suri Jimenez told CNN. So he worked for 24 hours in one day, to which he charged $250 per hour. But it gets even better or worse. So then I found this other one here as well. Let me pull it up here. Yeah. So this is per 11atlive.com. Records. Georgia Trump case special prosecutor paid $500,000 more than others hired by Fulton DA office. So it says here, let me pull up the numbers here. Okay, so newly obtained public records from Fulton County suggest, let me just get the big bug just for, oh, you have the numbers right there. Go, okay, good. Okay, yeah. So newly obtained records from Fulton County suggest Wade was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the other special prosecutors on the case. Those records indicate that DA's office paid special prosecutor John Floyd's law firm Bondurant, Mixon and Elmore close to $73,000 between 2022 and 2023. Special prosecutor Anna Cross law firms, Cross Kincaid and the Cross Firm LLC, were paid a total of roughly $90,000 during the same year's records show. But over the same time period, Fulton County records show the DA's office paid the law offices of Nathan J. Wade, the alleged lover of Fannie Willis, approximately $653,880. What a difference there, MOD.
So if you look, and this is what the comment section is not paying attention to. They're like, oh, how much does a lawyer get paid? Yeah, I mean, usually a special prosecutor, we get paid like maybe a couple 100,000, maybe like 150 to maybe 180,000 typically. And these are billable hours, but this is not something that you're consistently working on, per day, right? Necessarily. But this is almost like every day.
I mean, the numbers are insane, and
she doesn't even get paid that much. She get paid way more than she
well,
did.
that's the thing. Gordon is saying how much are the Trump lawyers getting paid? This is taxpayer money here.
Yeah, this is taxpayer funds. Like, we're not talking about, and also she petitioned. So, and if you look here, let me go to it. There was a, look, discussing application of Georgia state statutes for 6 hours. What? Come on. Locate and consult with an expert, 7 hours. Meeting with a unit for 4 hours. I mean, come on. Like, some of this shit is like, when you've kind of sat in the seat for some time and like, come on, 8 hours, a team conference for 8 hours. Come on. There's no way, bro.
Well, but but it gets even worse though, because I mean, this guy is so, again, guys, intended for entertainment purposes only and pure speculation. But this guy is such a fool that the greed is taking over him. And this is per the New York Post. So Trump prosecutor accused of improper relationship with Georgia DA Fannie Willis billed $4,000 meetings with White House officials. Yes, right. So the special prosecutor, the district attorney, Fannie Willis, accused of having an improper relationship with, billed Fulton County DA's office $4,000 for 2 8-hour meetings with White House officials while overseeing the election interference case against former President Donald Trump, according to court documents. The apparent meetings, attended by Nathan Wade, an Atlanta-based private attorney hired by Willis to assist in the prosecution of Trump and his co-defendants, took place in 2022 after he was tapped for the role, according to invoices included in a bombshell court filing first reported by the Daily Mail. And so in the court filing, Michael Roman, a former Trump 2020 campaign official, argues that Willis should be disqualified from the case, and the charges against him dropped because of her alleged improper clandestine personal relationship with Wade. The services rendered by Wade in conjunction with the case seemingly included attending an event with the White House counsel in Georgia and a meeting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the invoices show. And I'm trying to find here the part where I read this happened before Trump was indicted, correct?
This happened before Trump's actual indictment. He was indicted in August of 2023.
Right.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, so this is mind-blowing. So what's your take on this, MOD?
So let's go back here for a second. So I've got a surprise for you guys too. I'm going to show you here in a minute because I've got.
Oh no! Stuff. Don't do it!
I've got a surprise.
Don't do it!
Guys. Oh yeah.
You're going to trigger Gordon. Don't do it.
I'm sorry, but it's not in here. I've got to show you some other court documents you guys probably weren't expecting that I had access to. But so here, let's look at the fact that, she's an elected official. A large sum of the money that was originally allotted to clear the backlog of cases in Fulton County following the pandemic. So She goes before the Fulton County Board of Commissioners in 2021. She says, look, I need some money. I've got to clear this backlogs of cases. And she's supposed to use that funds for that purpose. It says here, so apparently she used them to prosecute this case. And then assuming that they were proper and could be forgiven within the contours of the prosecution, there's a separate but very important concern for the use of the money. As the layers unfolded, it becomes clear that the district attorney and the special prosecutor have been profiting personally from the prosecution's Fulton County from the expense. Instead of handling the case within her office, she had given the influx of COVID money. She chose to hire a special prosecutor to preside over the case, right? Now, she had two very, very decent attorneys that had RICO experience. And within the case, it's 127 pages long, but it kind of more repetitious, right? And really here in what they're talking about is the fact that she goes before this board, tells them, never discloses that she wants to hire a special prosecutor, when in fact, it's supposed to be approved. It goes into all the legality and all of that other stuff. But what's really interesting about this is that she chose to appoint her romantic partner, and at all times the relevant of this prosecution had been a married man. And how do we know this? Right? Open court records requests reveal that the DA did not obtain county approval to appoint the special prosecutor. They did not file an oath of office. Why would the prosecutor just not file the oath? Is a simple task, right? Very true. Special prosecutor seeking divorce in Cobb County. Oh shit. And sought successfully to seal the records and hide them from public view. And why would a private citizen such as a special prosecutor shield filings related to his income and spending from the public view?
So why? Why would that happen?
Why would that happen?
Yeah.
Well, it says here that the divorce filings are sealed by the court, the legality of which is open to question.
Right.
Information obtained outside of the court filings indicates that the DA and the special prosecutor have traveled personally together, such as places as Napa Valley, Florida, and the Caribbean. And the special prosecutor purchased tickets for both of them to travel to the Norwegian and Caribbean cruise lines. Traveling together in places such as D.C., New York, might make sense for work and purposes of other pending litigation. But what work purpose would that serve by travel of this traditional vacation destinations, right?
And
so,
this is incredible. This is just incredible.
Yeah. And so, according to these sources, the personal relationship between the DA and the special prosecutor began before his prosecution was initiated. The undersigned counsel knows that the special prosecutor researched his litigation experience, reveals that the special prosecutor has never tried a felony RICO case. The state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta has several lawyers who specialize in it. Why didn't they choose another one?
Right. It's all too convenient. Yeah. And then seeking to seal these records, which, by the way, username Adam B 1231 has a good question. Why would a judge grant sealing the divorce case? It's not the norm.
It's not the norm. And we really don't even know why they did that, right? And the only thing that I could possibly think of why they sealed that, or he sought to seal that, is because the wife so many different times tried to get the record, tried to get him to give his income, and comes to find out later on, she tells the judge in open court, look, he's hiding assets. He's been working on the Trump case as a special prosecutor, and he's been hiding bills and things like that. He's telling her he can only pay her $700 to some odd dollars every other week. Come to find out, he's taking his girlfriend on lavish trips, and he's getting all this money.
Which is the one that gave him the job originally, by the way.
Gave him his job. Look,
for the record. Look
at her salary. She's the DA. She's getting paid $198,266. And he's getting paid
so he's making more than her.
He's making way more than her.
Again, in air quotes, he's making more than her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so,
MOD, what would happen if there was actually accountability on every side? What if we open a money laundering investigation into this to see what really is going on here? But that's never going to happen.
So, Gordon, I'm so glad you asked that, because
what did he ask?
I had a surprise for you guys. He said, do we have proof that she said that?
That she said what?
If this wasn't true, like I said, I always come with my receipts. So here we have this was dated for November 29th of 2023. This is a certificate of service for discovery, and this was a notice of deposition to non-party Fulton County District Attorney's Office with the 5-2 certificate service has been served upon the counsel to the plaintiff. Counsel for plaintiff and counsel for Fulton County District Attorney's Office via statutory electronic service. It's like, oh, well, wait a minute. That's not necessarily going to Fannie Willis. Hold on. I'll get that for you. Give me 1 second here. And I think, hold on, because I might have pulled up the motion. Hang on a second.
For the record, I don't believe that these documents that were sealed, they're going to be sealed for a long time. I believe eventually we're going to see them.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. Fannie Willis. This is in the case of Nathan V. Wade versus Jocelyn Wade. And this is the certificate of service. And they're asking her for discovery, the girlfriend, right? So she's supposed to testify. They want some information from her. So I think what's his face asked, well, how do we know she said that? Well, the judge agreed because the judge admonished him in open court. So during the interrogatories, so here is the motion to extend mediation deadline. And this is the mediation hearing that was done. And this is one of the motions that were filed. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm actually going to pull up the first one because the first one that I actually found was the motion in the brief here.
Gordon is saying, what does that prove in the comment
What
section?
does that prove? You told me that the wife never alleged, or when did she say this? I'm showing you. This was actually in court.
I mean,
right?
everything we're showing Gordon here, and he still doesn't get it.
Yeah, so here the defendant served the plaintiff, and the wife is the defendant in this case. The first continuing interrogatories to the plaintiff and the defendant's first request for production of the documents and notice to produce to the plaintiff. Hereafter, the defendant's discovery request a true and accurate copy of the certificate of service. Now, they're saying that on December 27th, the plaintiff responded to the defendant's interrogatories, but said response was so woefully inadequate as to be useless. Specifically, the plaintiff failed to disclose all of his financial accounts, any information relating to his income, and any property information relating to the marital residence. Plaintiff also failed to adequately produce the documents requested in the defendant's request for production of documents. Specifically, the plaintiff failed to provide an adequate amount of bank statements for multiple financial accounts, any documentation relating to the marital residence or personal business tax returns, any pay stubs or other income statements, and multiple other documents. Plaintiff owns a law firm, which a marital asset has, and, for example, refused to even produce business tax returns or even basic minimal requirements, which would allow the defendant to even begin to ascertain the value of the business. And so they had been asking over and over again for him to respond to such a statement of the financial affidavit, a motion to compel discovery. They're talking about that they served him and his law firm. The plaintiff has now refused to respond to the non-party discovery request sent to his business. A true and accurate copy was sent there. So they sent over to the DA's office asking them, hey, we know that you're working for the DA. Remember the first thing that I showed you, over to Fannie Willis's office? Because they knew that she was working there. So why would they send the motion for discovery? Is because the wife knew that he was working for Fannie Willis, and said, hey, we want the records of what he made. We want to know this.
And I think this, maybe they were not expecting that, right? The wife to come along and cause this havoc.
Who even knows at this point, because if somebody sees you, I mean, they're talking about in the motion, they're talking about people seeing them too in public with one another, kissy, lovey face, going out to dinner, trips, all types of shit they were saw in other counties. I mean, and Atlanta's a small town, right? Not it's a big town, but there people know people, right? And Fannie Willis would be well recognized in there, right? Well within that, right? Now, did they provide any such proof? No, but
Well, but I'm sure
apparently,
there are traveling records as well,
absolutely,
like
and
plane tickets and stuff like that. But by the way,
absolutely.
do you agree with what I said, that eventually we will see these sealed documents?
Oh, for sure, because we
Yeah.
definitely, what we do know is the day after, because this was filed on November 2nd of 2021. This was the day after, and this is what in the motion what's alleging is the day after he got this job with Fannie Willis, he filed for divorce in Cobb County. So November 1st, he started working on the case 2021. November 2nd, 2022 is when he filed for divorce in Cobb County. And it shows that within the first few days, he was paid almost $31,000, which would have been pretty much the initial cost for him to kind of get all this started. So says, Mott, can you name one case where Congress has requested a specific investigative files on a case? Yeah. The Crossfire Hurricane. What else? They requested for the Mueller report, Durham report. I mean, Congress does investigations all the time, my guy. Look it up. That's just in recent history. So I'm not sure what the...
Someone in the comment section said if you can show the case number for Gordon.
You want to see the... He wants to see the case number? Like... Dude.
Well, in all fairness, someone asked for him.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Here it is.
There it is. Good. This will be on YouTube, by the way. So you guys on YouTube can, do the search there as well. Yeah, Gordon doesn't want to see the reality, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just so obvious. Like,
right.
You're the DA. You're getting in a relationship with the special prosecutor that you hire. He's getting paid more than the average, and then there's a bill where he charged for 24 hours. MOD, right. What's your take on that? 24 hours.
Yeah, which is pretty.
So he worked for 24 hours.
Worked for 24 hours. I've never seen anybody do anything like that in one day. Now, if it said like, let's say April 22nd to, April 23rd, 24, or maybe even 24 hours would be consisting over the course of 6 days. I would have found that to be much more reasonable. But 24-hour days, no sleeping, no eating, no drinking, no nothing, no sleeping.
Not even a lunch.
Man, come on. That just doesn't make any sense. And no one else's. What's interesting is they actually do show a contract of another special prosecutor that was sanctioned by the Board of Commissioners, and they actually show what a normal county prosecutor or special prosecutor would make. And they showed the contract. They also showed all of those things. They showed how much he was getting paid. It was nowhere even close to what this guy was getting paid with zero experience.
Gordon is saying that 250 is the average.
Well, $250 is the average, but then if you take into the account the amount of days, hours, and weeks, and the travel expenses and all this work that this guy was doing, and he wasn't even sanctioned by the court, and nor did Fulton County Board of Commissioners authorize him to be paid for any of this. It's just overkill, my guy.
Right. It's just the total number at the end of the day that counts. And then you have a username Decibel the Destroyer responding to the 24-hour work bill, he or she saying he worked all right. You know what I mean.
Definitely working.
Yeah, he was working for sure.
So Gordon, I know that this doesn't, and it's hard for you to grasp at this, and you're asking all the right questions. And I'm just telling you, in my experience, this is completely out of the ordinary, and it's completely outrageous. This just does not, these are things that do not happen. You're not you're not really grasping the fact that this is beyond the pale, right? And we could see that if you're working with a team of people, but $650,000 and close to $1 million to work as a special prosecutor, and then using taxpayer funds and federal funds combined with COVID funds and not being authorized by the board
But
of
I just
commissioners,
said, but
and
MOD, I
using
just read it
try it's not legal.
from 11live.com that he's getting paid more than others hired by Fulton DA office. So he's breaking records, this guy.
This guy's breaking records with no
Yeah,
legal
so
experience.
isn't that fishy to you,
It's
Gordon?
complete. It's well,
I
he
mean,
has
come on. It's
yeah.
telling you right, the data is showing you right there
Focused
that
on
this is not the norm for those hired by Fulton DA's office.
well, he's focused on the 250. The 250 is not the issue. The 250 is
Right, it's the amount of hours and the total
it's the
that
amount
he's
of
getting
hours and
paid.
days and the scope of work. I mean, at this point, she is the lead attorney. She's the highest paid attorney in Fulton County, and this guy's getting more than she is.
He totally
She's
like
supposed to be
passed her
under her
completely. Yeah.
direction. He's running the whole gambit. So what is she doing?
Can we open a racketeering case here, or what's going on here?
Oh man. So I'm so glad you said that because
That's the irony of the whole thing, right? It's so
yeah,
ironic.
the irony of this is that you're actually alleging that this would be a scheme because obviously in her case, this precedence that she's setting is you don't need pecuniary gain, which in this case we do have pecuniary gain, and we also have continuity. We do have this sort of open-ended continuity because had he remained a special prosecutor and the fact that they were seeking to renew his contract because his contract ended just on December 30th, she just put an application to renew his contract. So he's still working on it. So now we have continuity. We also have that this could be some sort of these two we don't remember when we saw in the beginning that we don't necessarily can only just be we just need one person, one or two people. It doesn't have to be more than one, and they can constitute as an enterprise, right? Working in a concerted effort to defraud the government, which they did. They defrauded the government with not filing the proper paperwork, concealing his employment from the County Board of Commissioners, not filing the oath of office like they should have, and then profiting personally, taking those funds and enriching themselves by going on trips with that money that was not authorized to be spent. And that sounds like that is what we look for in the elements of a RICO. That
And so username ma'am said, boom, RICO for Fanny.
right. And so as an ADA, we would be held to a higher standard, right? So we would be held to this position that things like nepotism and you're not allowed to have sort of these improper relationships. And if you end up recusing yourself in a situation, so let's just say that the DA says that, hey, I need to hire a special prosecutor, and they go through the steps of hiring special prosecutor, and let's say the county says, hey, we understand your recommendation, but based on this person's qualifications, we want you to hire this person. And it turns out that this was like your old boss from like 10 years ago, and you guys had a bad relationship, and you go, hey, I understand you want to hire him. You're going to do what you want to do with your money. I'm top law in here, but I'm going to recuse myself. And there's a section within the Georgia Revised Code that basically allows for that, right? It allows for, in the event that there's some sort of conflict of interest, or if the DA is unable to sort of supervise a case if it involves a family member. So they would hire a special assistant county prosecutor to sort of kind of deal with that so that there's no impropriety, but not in this case. She would have had to she would have probably had to disclose to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners what the extent of their relationship was, and she would have lied to them to sort of secure these funds as well. So They're also highlighting the fact that his lack of relevant experience with in his contacts with a contract with Fannie Willis, and a substantial income connection. So when you look at all of these things together, right, the fact that he's never even he was a divorce lawyer, right? They don't have any history of him ever prosecuting a single felony trial. Like, even if you could find one, you can make a case. But it just seems that why would you pay this guy this? In his divorce case, guess how much this guy gets paid per month? $14,000 a month, that's his salary. $14,000 a month. Now, if the wife is alleging, dude, you're not able to pay, we've got kids, you're not helping me, but with $700 every other week. And this guy just got over $1 million. So, of course, if Fannie wants to continue her relationship with her boyfriend, she's not going to tell the board of commissioners she hired her boyfriend. She's not going to disclose this because she knows it will be a violation of the code of ethics, right? For the state of Georgia and the Office of Professional Responsibility for the state of Georgia. She also knows that if she reveals this information in his divorce case and it becomes public that he is working on the case in his divorce, they will subpoena records from Fannie Willis, and she'll have to show how much money he was making, which if the county board of commissioners finds out that actually happened, they're going to be asking her like, yo, why are we getting subpoenas from Cobb County in regards to a special prosecutor we didn't even know about?
By the way, add to that he did meet with the White House prior Trump being indicted.
Correct. And
so MOD, so why aren't Republicans, or are they, on top of this?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up because
what's going on here? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Jim Jordan is back at it again, and just recently he opened up an inquest on December 5th. So if you look up, there is a new letter that just came out December the 5th. And him and Fannie Willis went back and forth back in September, but I told you Jim Jordan is not playing with this lady. So if you look up,
is it the one that says December 5th, 2023, the Honorable, right? The Honorable Fannie T. Willis District. Let me see, District.
Yep.
Committee. Hold on, I'm trying to get the title of this so you guys can. Is that the one, right?
Yep.
So the title of the document is 2023 1205 JDJ to Willis RE January 6th Select Committee Docs. That's the one?
Yeah. So now this is prior to, which is really interesting about this is because Jim Jordan's on that ass. And this is prior to any of this coming out. So remember, this is dated for December 5th. And on here, it talks about they're continuing to conduct their oversight of this politically motivated prosecutions by state and local officials. And he says, although we're aware that your office had coordinated its politically motivated prosecutions with the Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith, we recently learned that your office also coordinated its investigations with the partisan January 6th Select Committee attack on the J6 of the United States Capitol. And so we saw, remember in the motion, we saw that he actually met with the January 6th Select Committee, her special prosecutor. So Jack Smith, Jim Jordan was like, yeah, we asked you back in August for some information. You sort of started, stiff arming us, giving us a Heisman Trophy treatment. And you responded back to our committee and resorted to ad hominem attacks on the committee's oversight. And you largely rehashed the same arguments. And we're like, yeah, you didn't produce anything. So Jim Jordan's like, we don't really care about your ad homs, right? Because, that's what the left does. All they do is ad hom attack. We want the facts. So Jim Jordan is not playing with her. He's saying that we're in possession of a letter dated December 17th, 2021, enclosed herein were from you to Representative Benny G. Thompson, chairman of the partisan January Select Committee, requesting access to congressional records that may be relevant to your criminal investigation. Specifically, you asked Representative Thompson for access to records, including but not limited to recordings, transcripts of interview, witnesses, depositions, electronic and print records of communications, and records of travel. You even offered that you and your staff were eager to travel to Washington, D.C. to meet with investigators in person and receive these records anytime between January 31st, 2022 and February 25th, 2022. Oh, but then her boyfriend traveled right around February of 2022 and picked up those records for her. So she paid him to do that.
Wow, like a FedEx?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and he billed her for like.
But who can hold her accountable? That's what I mean. You know?
Yeah.
Are we ever gonna get to see that or no? What do you think?
I'm hoping so, because now what we do have is, as of recently, Jim Jordan. If we type in Jim Jordan and Nathan Wade, just 3 days ago, he sends a letter and says, "Hey Nathan, we need those records, buddy." And the first thing that pops up is the actual letter. You can find it on the Twitter page. So I'm taking off my eyelashes because I gotta wash my face soon. And if you type in Jim Jordan, Nathan Wade, the first thing that pops up, you can find the letter thing that pops up on Twitter.
Is it the one that's from January 12th, 2024?
Yeah. So if you scroll down a little bit, the second one should say House Judiciary Committee Republicans. It says Chairman Jordan demands documents and communications. 5 days ago.
Correct. So guys, if you do Google Jim Jordan and Nathan Wade, you scroll a little bit down, you'll see the title of the article is from judiciary.house.gov. Chairman Jordan demands documents and communications from Fannie Willis associate Nathan Wade.
Yep. And he's saying in here, he's saying that basically, and if we click on that, he's saying, look, your assistance with the Fulton County DAs to prosecute former President Donald Trump and current declared candidate, according to a recent court filing, you've been paid more than $650,000 at a rate of $250 an hour to serve as an attorney assistant and later a special assistant district county attorney in the unprecedented investigation and prosecution of former President Donald Trump and other former officials. And the filing also alleged that you received a substantial amount of money from Fulton County and you spent extravagantly on lavish vacations from your boss, Ms. Willis. And look on here, it says that...
With your boss, Miss Willis.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yep. And then...
That's crazy.
Right. $6,000 for 24 hours to meet with a legal team from April 18th to April 22nd. And it talks about meeting with White House counsel in Athens on May 23rd, 2022. Talks about same invoice billing for 8 hours meeting with the January 6th team on May 31st, 2022.
And that was $2,000.
$2,000.
Wow.
To meet with somebody and talk.
Amazing.
That's a lot of damn money.
2,000 taxpayer dollars. And the previous was 6,000 taxpayer dollars, correct?
Correct. And they also said that they're reportedly compensated using concoction of commingled funds, including monies confiscated or seized by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and monies directed from the Fulton County's General Fund. And the committee has information that the approximately $14.6 million in grant funds from the DOJ between 2020 and 2023. And given the enormous legal fees you have billed, there's open questions about whether federal funds were used to financial prosecution. In fact, on one day, November 5th, 2021, this was a few days after he filed for divorce, mind you, you billed taxpayers 24 hours of legal work attesting that you worked all day and night without a break on politically motivated prosecution.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's so insane. 24 hours of legal work.
This guy
without breaks.
Yeah. And so
that's the true definition of working day and night, huh?
Working day and night.
He must have been playing that song while working.
Yeah. And it's crazy because people don't really quite understand that the people, the House and the Senate are the people, right? We look at them as the government, right? The legislative branch, and we sort of forget that they are the extension of us. We put these people into office to do exactly what they're sitting here doing now. Is they're supposed to make sure that we keep a balance of powers, and any sort of abuses by the president of the United States, the Supreme Court, or within internally within themselves, the people are asking questions. Did we give you all money in Fulton County, which it looks like that they had grant money from the DOJ, which would have been something that the Congress, they're in charge of the money. They hold the bag, they hold the purse. They're like, hey, in our fiduciary capacity, we want to know what you spend our money on. And if you spend our money on politically motivated prosecutions of former presidents, we have a big issue with that. And
I mean,
so,
I hope it moves forward that way, because and this is a question, by the way, I'm just
right,
asking, could this fall under money laundering?
it
if
absolutely
if
could.
if it's if it's looked into a matter of her having access to that money because she's allegedly with him, taking these,
Correct.
you know lavish trips, and who knows if she couldn't get anything from that pile of money that he got paid.
Absolutely.
Could
So,
so would that be considered money laundering?
yeah. So, and again, in the pattern of RICO, and we looked at this before, we looked at pecuniary gain, we looked at the pattern of deception, the pattern, the continuity that we typically see in a RICO charge, and sort of when we look at the whole uh, sort of what money laundering is, and this would be any sort of concealment of any sort of illegally obtained money, or theft, or some sort of deception, or taking money, or misappropriating, or misrepresenting what the money is actually going to be used for. And typically we see that between there's some sort of transfer involving a foreign bank, or sometime even a legitimate business. So in other words, they call it kind of sort of washing the money. So it's dirty money that looks clean, right? So
Right.
this would be like smuggling cash into a foreign institution. That's a money laundering. Or
Right.
creating shell companies and then sort of like funneling the money through business accounts, or purchasing some goods, high value goods, and then reselling them to sort of legitimize the
So
profit,
then,
right?
so then maybe money laundering might be a little bit hard to prove because you really have to dig deep into that, which
Well,
is still a possibility. But so then, what about racketeering then?
well, with at least with the money laundering sort of part of that, the concealment of the origins of where the money actually came from, making it appear to be legitimate, is what we would be looking here. So if it was, so in a sense that if it was misrepresented where the money actually came from to pay for said things, and the scheme was to use that money for a purpose that was supposed to be legal, but it's actually not legal, and sort of kind of washing it and concealing it, that's where we would get money laundering. But you're right,
So
it
then,
could be
so
pretty
then,
hard to prove.
right, that'll be harder to prove. That's what I'm saying, because in
Right.
essence, the money's it's coming from the taxpayers, right? So it's being paid properly, right? There's proof of where it came from.
Well, yeah.
Um, yeah.
If it's legitimate, then obviously, it's so let's just put this into perspective. We're not saying that this is going to make the entire case go away, right? Because this could, in a sense, you could say that just because they acted inappropriately doesn't necessarily mean that the merits of the case don't actually mean anything.
But they could be
But
dismissed from the case,
it
these
could be
two, no?
dismissed, right? And
Right.
it could, some of the
But that
evidence,
would definitely tarnish the case already.
right? They could see the case being retried and maybe some of the evidence thrown out Do we really think that anything's going to happen or come anything of this? That remains to be seen. That would be the best case scenario, that they throw it out, but that
Do you
could mean they
think?
could retry the case
Do
again.
you think she's scared now? Like, oh damn, I messed up, or maybe she told him, "You billed too many hours.
To,
What are you
to,
doing?"
to be honest with
Yeah, this
you,
guy's gonna be a multimillionaire by the time this is done, if no one stops him.
if this was sanctioned by the executive branch, and there's some sort of protections there, or even if we have a judge that just doesn't have an issue with this, it can be a whole big nothing. But that doesn't mean that none of this stuff is true. They just choose not to make it even relevant to the case. It's very well possible they could just be like, okay, whatever, like who actually really cares? Now, the judge doesn't speak for Fulton County as far as if they're alleging that an action happened, which would be really, really interesting, because if Fulton County doesn't know that they're a victim, then it would be up to the court to tell them, like, hey, you were defrauded. Kind of like how they did in New York, right? So the Democrats aren't really being consistent here. So I kind of feel like if,
What else is new?
yeah, like what else would be new? So I kind of feel like in this sense, and I get the feeling that we could possibly see something with Fannie Willis getting admonished or something else like that. But then the judge could also look and go, you know what, that has really no bearing on the case. Now, if they throw out this guy's case, then we may see other motions filed for, including Donald Trump, to actually have this case thrown out. Now, me personally, I would love to see these cases go to trial, because I want to see this woman get egg on her face when she tries to justify anything in the indictment as being part of a criminal organization.
Right,
But
because you already know it's just a phony case anyway.
yeah, like she hasn't even pulled a jury yet. And you want to really
Right.
talk about highlighting, all of this stuff. I mean, this is making like national news, maybe even international news. And
Oh, international. Oh, for sure.
right, getting an impartial jury
Yeah.
for a defendant is hard enough. Can you imagine how many people actually know that the DA was involved in some sort of scandal, and how that could possibly skew their opinions on whether or not they'd actually rule in this favor? So these in her favor. So she's really going to have to think about where her next steps are here. And if she drops the case, then she's guilty, right? But if
Correct.
she doesn't, and a judge finds her, to have, done what she's done, and they, I know people are thinking like, oh my God, is she going to be brought up on RICO charges? Maybe not. They could
Oh
decline.
no. I
I
have MOD. I have NY hates Trump. He wants to ask you something.
Sure, no problem.
He's we know about NY. He's been here before.
Sure. As long as
All right.
they're motivated, because nobody cares about that, right?
Yes, let's make it brief, please, because we do have to end the live soon. Go ahead, NY. Welcome to the panel.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing today?
Hello.
And
Hello there.
we met a couple of times, and you're funny. That's all I got.
Who?
Oh, I didn't.
MOD.
My job title is
MOD.
comedian, bro. But okay.
All right, but anyway, since you're a lawyer, right? Supposedly you're a lawyer, right? Am I correct?
Yes. What can I help you with?
What type of lawyer? Just a
I
couple.
used to be a criminal prosecutor.
Oh, all right. So now, with the indictments going on, since we're talking about that case, right? So what about the people that pled guilty?
What do you want to know?
I would like to know, since they pled guilty and cooperated with the government against Trump, would that affect the case?
So we talked about this earlier, and they, in their plea agreements, what they did is they agreed to exchange for truthful testimony in the future. And that's pretty much part of their plea deal. So we could see if there's motions filed to dismiss in any of their cases. And so far, we only have this one.
No, that has to be funny.
I don't know why that's funny to you.
Because
Do you have any legal experience?
yes, I do, and
What
that's why I'm
sort of
talking
legal
to you.
experience do you have?
And to me, you hold up
So
before
what
we
sort
get
of
there.
legal, since you asked me, it's only fair.
That
What
is
sort
a
of
fair
legal,
question, and why you
what
did
sort of
ask her,
legal
so she's
experience
asking
do
you
you have?
back.
Yes, of course. I'm a correctional officer, so I don't. I've heard about cases. I've seen cases, and
Okay.
and the people that gets that goes to jail. They tell me about their cases. I understand what they go through, so I kind of learn in a way what happened and stuff like that. So I kind of have a little bit of experience. I'm not a lawyer, none like that. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
So you do understand what happened in these cases, right?
Yes, I do understand when you plead guilty on a RICO case,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you have cold D's. When you have cold D's and they pled guilty, you're
Mm-hmm.
fucked. You're pretty much fucked. That's what I know.
How do you know that with no sort of legal experience?
Whoa. Don't get. I'm not a lawyer. I'm telling you
So
what
then
I've seen,
why, so then
what I've
why, so
experienced.
NY,
Listen, I'm around
why
guys.
would you think then, hold on, why would you think with little knowledge of the law that you have, that you somehow can tell me that I'm wrong when you just admitted you have no legal
All
experience,
right,
but I
listen to
do?
me. I don't. Well, listen to me. I
So,
know
I
for a
mean,
fact. I know.
but you
Wait,
wouldn't
wait. Let me
have,
talk. Can I
you
talk?
wouldn't have, you, if you're a probation officer, you wouldn't be working with anybody that had a RICO charge, right? Because
I
most
never
people that
said I was
plead
a
guilty on
probation
RICO
officer.
charges would be going to jail. Unless, were you a county probation officer?
I never said I was a probation officer. I said I was
I
a
think it was
correction
it
officer.
correction you said?
I'm sorry, a
Correction.
Oh,
correction officer.
correctional. Okay.
Yes.
So, wait a minute.
Wait.
So
So
you
now
worked in,
I
so wait a
see.
minute. So you wouldn't have access to any of these court documents because you're pretty much just sort of like security within the jail, right?
Yo,
So you have no sort of
hold on,
arrest powers. You have
wait.
no sort
After
of
the case,
legal background.
wait. Let me talk to you.
You went to a school for 6 weeks to learn how to be a corrections officer, right? A correction within a jail, right?
All right,
Do you have a degree in criminal justice?
all right. Listen to me.
I'm
Listen to
just
me. I
asking, do you
said
have a
I'm not.
degree in criminal
I
justice?
stated from the get go. I'm not a lawyer.
Okay,
I
so then
stated from the yo. Wait. Let me talk. Can I finish?
well, I'm
Let me finish. Let me finish.
respectfully though,
I
if I'm
know.
talking to someone
I
that's
know for a fact
okay,
when you get it. I'm telling you, I'm around these guys all days. I know
right,
what's
and you know
going on.
criminals lie, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
Right.
I
So then
know
why
for a
would
fact
anything that
when
I'm saying here be
anybody pleads
funny?
guilty, I
Okay.
know for a fact when anybody pleads guilty in a
Okay.
RICO charge,
Okay.
that boss, the top guy, is going down. That's what I know. And
Okay. So
for a fact,
I'm glad you said that. So let me ask you this. Let me ask
there's
you this.
no
Hold
way
on.
to get
Hold
around.
on. Hold on.
Okay, and why you made your point.
Hold
We
on.
get your point. Let's see,
You got
Emily, you can reply. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me ask you this. In Jenna Ellis's case, she saw no jail time. Okay? She got off on probation.
That's a civil case.
It's not a civil case. It was a Jenna Ellis's case. Wait a minute. Jenna Ellis was charged with racketeering. This was a criminal case. It's not a civil case.
Wait, Jenna Ellis. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant E. Jean
Okay, so let
Carroll.
me
I
finish, please.
apologize. I'm
Jenna
thinking
Ellis in this
E. I was
situation.
thinking
Okay.
about E. Jean Carroll. I apologize.
Okay, I said Jenna Ellis, not Eugene
Yes,
Carroll. Two
now you
totally
got me.
different
Now you got
jurisdictions.
me. Yeah.
Jenna Ellis was charged with racketeering and she took a plea deal. Okay. In exchange for that plea deal, she said that she was going to offer in exchange for truthful testimony.
All right.
Okay. She did not agree to be a witness for the prosecution because she would have signed an agreement to be a witness for the prosecution. That never happened.
All right. Now let
Okay.
me tell you
She's
something.
not,
Right.
hold on. She's not
Hold on.
going to see any
This is
jail
what you guys
time.
don't know. This is what you
She
guys
got
don't know about.
probation
You
and a
see, this
$5,000 fine. So
Vega.
any of the people, hold on, any of the people that you deal with, if they took a
Let her
plea,
finalize. Let's be fair.
hold
You
on,
already spoke. Let her
I
finalize.
am. I'm letting her go.
if they took a plea deal in exchange for a lighter sentence in jail time, okay, this would be very, very different. And you would not be privy to their appeals process because once they take the plea deal, the only time that they would appeal is if they had an instance in this case, which is pretty rare. that a motion being filed and one of their co-defendants to throw out the case, but the person that you would be talking to would have absolutely no idea unless their lawyer told them. And then I don't understand why they would tell you as a corrections officer, because you wouldn't possibly even know what that would entail, because you don't have access to those court records to even know any of this. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if a person was charged and is in jail for a RICO, all right, on their appeal, so in their court of appeals documents, or when they go to file for an appeal, they would be filing on an appeal for being found guilty after they pled not guilty through a trial.
All right.
This is not what happened.
All right,
So
my turn now. My turn.
none of the people, hold on, none
Let me
of
show you
the
something.
it's
Let
not
me
your
show her
turn.
something,
None
right?
of the people,
Hold on, wait, hold on.
none of
Let
these
her
people,
finalize.
you wouldn't have, as a corrections officer, any contact with someone who's on probation for a RICO charge. You would only be dealing with people who are found guilty or on appeal. So this is totally different from anybody that you would be dealing with, because none of these people are in jail right now.
Right, because of the plea deal MOD, they skipped jail time, correct?
All of these, none
You
of these
got so
plea deals
fucking
ended
no
with jail
shit.
time for any of these
My
people.
turn now. Let me show you something, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna show you something. Right?
Go ahead, NY.
My turn. Let me tell you something, sweetheart.
I'm not a sweetheart. You don't have to be condescending.
All right,
I'm not your sweetheart.
Listen, let me talk. Let me talk. Let me tell you something, my brother. First off, there are sealed deal that made right behind the scene that nobody, it will not even come out. She has to show proof of everything which she corroborate, right? That's what she don't tell you about, right? Of course, they're gonna let out bits of the bullshit to the public, but they're all shit.
It's in her court filing, bro. It's nothing is sealed.
It's my turn.
It's nothing is
They're
sealed,
all
though.
secrets. They're all
There's no
things that she
secrets,
said
sir.
behind the scene that cannot be revealed
There's
to the
no
public
secret. Excuse
until
me.
it's court time, bro.
Hold on, but NY, how do you know this, by the way?
Because I know.
Yeah,
Leave
but
What do you
there's
mean,
no
because I know? So what's the
it
source?
like that, bro. Leave it like
Huh?
that. Yo, she knows that too. She knows that too, but she over there, everything's sweet because
no, there's.
in the public face. No,
Have
bro,
you
there's
seen
so
her
much
court
behind the
record?
scene that you guys have no idea about, and the shit that they know, and the
That sounds
shit
like
that they know, they're not
conspiracy.
gonna reveal that to the fucking public.
So NY,
sounds
NY, hold
like
on, hold on.
conspiracy.
NY, the username Drew Johnson is saying that your sources, and I quote, "Trust me, bro." Is that correct?
Even when I lie.
And
Say
why?
what?
Username Drew Johnson in the comment section is saying that your sources, and I quote, "Trust me, bro." Is that correct?
I think you spend too much time in jail, bro. You got to get a new job.
But NY, you didn't answer the question. Is that your source? Is "Trust me,
That's
bro"?
my job, sweetheart. You spend a lot of time in court, right?
I did spend a lot of time in court. That's why I can actually speak to what matters of the court. But you spend a lot of time in jail, which sounds like you
Exactly.
sound like you spend a lot of time in jail.
You guys barely win, bro. You guys barely win.
Yeah. So
No
and a lot
shit.
of people run around talking about conspiracies that spend a lot of time in jail
You
because there's
see,
always a
look what I said to
conspiracy
her, man.
against
She
you.
cannot debunk what I said. She can't debunk what I said. There's a lot of
Yeah,
sealed.
because
Let
you're
me tell you something.
talking
There's a
about
lot of sealed
you're
shit that's
talking
not
about
being brought up to
conspiracies,
the
right?
public because of. Let me tell you something.
Right. You're
my
coming
brother.
from the
I
perspective
don't know
of
what
a
the fuck she
criminal,
talking
which a
about.
criminal always talks about conspiracies. They always
Listen.
talk about the systems against them. You sound just
You
like
see?
where you work at, just like I sound like just where I work at.
Look, like I always say, my brother, Vega Axis, my brother, listen to me. The shit that she's saying right now is very irrelevant. She's trying to prove nothing. She can't.
But NY, in all fairness, hold on, NY. But she showed. We went through this, I think, over 2 hours now. We went through all these documents. We went through all the sources.
Unless
I'm asking you for sources, and you're saying,
All right,
"Trust me."
Let me tell you something. There are sealed documents that she has no access to. All right, she's not the
There's nothing
lawyer
sealed
of
other
that
than the
case.
Ellis's
She's
case.
not the lawyer of that case. There are shit that these guys got to deal with. They don't even know how the fuck to deal with that. They don't know. There are audio tapes.
There's nothing
Listen,
sealed in any of these cases.
They're all.
What are you
Listen to
talking
me.
about?
Listen to me. They're all audio tapes. They're all recordings. They're possibly video cam. They're all that kind of shit. that got you red-handed,
Okay.
that you can't get away from. Hold up, wait, I'm not done. Hold up, that you don't even know about. And then you over there talking about that's the third. I know what I'm talking about because
I
I
don't
know
know what
when the feds listen to
those
me.
are not
When the
words,
feds
those are sounds. What are you
yo,
drumming your tongue for?
yo,
That's not a
listen to me.
sentence. Can you complete a
Hold up.
sentence
When
without
the
making
feds
sounds?
listen to me. One
I
thing I'm gonna
can't
tell you,
understand
my
what you're
brother,
saying when you're making sounds and sound. You're saying that's not a word.
my brother, listen to me. When the
I'm
feds,
not a brother. I'm a woman.
I was talking to you.
Okay, but we
You're
don't
half
know
a
what
sister.
you're saying
You're
when you're
half a
making
sister.
drumming sounds
You're
because
half a
those are
sister.
not
You're half a
words. Those are
sister.
sounds. We
You're
don't
half
know
a
what we're saying.
sister. You're half a
Okay.
sister.
All right. NY, I let you speak. Hold on a second. NY, just real quick.
Yo, wait.
Do you know?
I
All
want to
right.
say one
Do
thing.
you know
One
whether?
thing before I finish. I want to say one thing. Look, let me tell you
Make
something.
it quick, please.
Quick, very quick. Look, let me tell you something. Honestly, and I'm not gonna come in and joke around again. All right, look, honestly, look. When the feds come to you, when they knock on your door, their evidence.
This is not a Fed
That
case.
It is not a Fed case. That's true. NY.
RICO case. A RICO case. It's a
RICO
Fed case.
cases are
Point
on
blank
the
period.
state
I
and
don't know
the
what you
federal
call it.
level.
A lawyer said
This
that?
is a state RICO case.
A
This is not a federal
lawyer?
RICO.
A lawyer?
NY.
I'm scared.
Hold on. NY. And this is why I want to ask you this. Do you know the definition of RICO?
Yes, of course. I deal with
What
those
is it,
things all
please?
day.
What is it?
A RICO case is pretty much racketeering.
Okay, and go ahead.
A RICO case. It's everybody's that's involved. They get you. They pretty much they want the head of the operation. That's it. It's an operation. It's an operation. Point blank. Period. Look, that's if you want to put it at the end like that.
What does RICO stand for?
I don't get. I think it's racketeering. What is it? What's the? I know the. Man, I don't give a fuck what it stands for, but I know RICO is.
That's highly important to what you're
Come on,
describing.
NY.
Yeah, because if you
Listen, I'm
don't
from New
understand
York.
what a RICO,
RICO's all over.
what is racketeering? Do you know
Why
what
the fuck you
racketeering
asking
is?
me all this dumbass question? I'm telling you what
Because
the fuck. I don't
you're
care
trying to
about this
explain to
shit.
me what a
I know
RICO
for a
is,
fact.
but you don't know what
Listen,
racketeering is.
yo, MOD, why you got try to be tough,
Well,
man?
you came up here to address me.
why try to be tough now? Yo, you know what's funny about you, MOD? I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know what's funny about you? And I've seen you in a couple of lives, and you denounce Trump. That's the
No, I don't.
crazy thing. That's
I've
the
never
crazy.
denounced Trump.
Yes, you have. Yes, you
No,
have.
I've never
Yes,
denounced
you have.
Trump.
Oh fuck,
That's a
yeah, I'm
lie.
not talking about Trump right now. I don't care about Trump. Who cares
I
about
have
Trump?
Trump
You
all over
said
my
that so many
page. What are
times.
you
Am
talking
I
about,
lying?
bro?
No, hold up. Am I
You're
lying?
lying.
No, am I lying?
I am MAGA, bro.
No,
There's
no.
nothing about me
Am I
that's
lying
ever
what I said?
denounced Trump.
Am I lying?
You're
Am I
lying.
lying? You
Yes.
see, you can't. You see the shit. You see, that's the thing with these guys,
I've
bro.
never show
They
me
getting
something
paid
where
for
I've
something.
denounced
Yo,
Trump.
you see the thing with these people, bro.
Where
That's the shit
have I denounced
hate,
Trump
bro.
at?
Yo, be honest
Where?
with yourself, man. Be honest. Stand on your
Where? I've
truth.
never denounced
Stand
Trump.
on
I
your
am
truth.
pro-Trump.
Stand on your truth. All right, if you love, all right, now you said it now.
I've
But then in
always said
other
that. He's
lives,
all over my page.
when
What
she
are you
gets,
talking about?
listen to me, big.
The
I'm
title
right.
in my page talked about
Listen,
Trump.
I'm not lying,
I'm
bro.
Trump 2024.
I listen to
But
this shit
and
every day.
why? I mean, I've interviewed MOD multiple times, and
All
I've
right,
never
cool,
heard
cool,
her
fine.
denounce
Let me tell you
Trump.
something.
I've
Let me tell you
never
something.
denounced
I'm not,
Trump
yo,
once.
listen, I'm a man. I keep it a buck. I tell the truth.
All right,
Even
so
when
show
I
proof.
fucking lie. Let
Where's
me tell
that
you
proof?
something. Let me tell you something. When she's in different lives and she gets debunked, she switched. Oh, I don't care about Trump. I don't
I've
know about Trump.
never
I don't
said
care
that.
about
That
Trump.
is a
I will not
lie.
vote for Trump. I'm not lying to you, bro.
What?
I'm
I've
not
never
lying.
said
She
I'm not
knows.
voting for Trump.
So let me let me ask you a question.
Complete
So I'm
never
lying.
lie, bro.
So am I lying?
I've been Trump since
No, am I
2016.
lying? No.
Yeah,
Am
you're
I
lying, bro. You're
So I'm
lying.
lying?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
So I'm lying?
comment
So
section.
you
The
said
comment
that?
section is saying that you're not accurate. I mean, some of them do follow her. I've seen some of her live, so I've never seen it. But I mean, that's besides the point. I just want to go back to the RICO thing. So NY. So do you know if this is a state or a federal case?
It's a RICO's feds.
No.
No. Okay, is this case a federal or a state case? I'm asking you.
It's a state case, of course. The state
But you said it
court
was a
rules.
federal 5 minutes ago. That's why I'm
All right, let me
wondering
tell
where
you
you're coming
something.
from with
Let me
that.
tell- Yo, with Trump, it's so complicated with this dude, bro. He has so many charges, so many shit against him. You can't even keep up. That's the thing with me. This man, he has to plead
This
guilty
is the
somewhere.
background I just had up earlier today. Look at what that says at the bottom. MAGA hashtag vote Trump 2024.
Yo, let me tell you something, bro. As a sister, bro.
Like, come on, dude.
Yo,
Anyway, what's your take on MOD liking Trump? Why are you against that? She's an individual, no? What's the issue with that?
I'm gonna tell you. To me, I feel like a lot of black
I have a
women
whole
are very,
MAGA
a lot,
sweatshirt on it.
a lot
Like
of black
5
women,
of my
yo,
videos.
compared to black men, a lot of black women are very educated, and to me, to see her going on that side, knowing the fact of this man, and not only that,
But
and as a,
please, you can't just say that and why. You said the fact of this man. Please elaborate. What are the facts of this man? We want to know.
91 felonies, full indictments, sexual assault, all kinds of stuff about this man, bro. And we know him from New York. How many people he did dirt to? Like how many? He's a con artist. We know that in New York. We know about this man for years. For years, we know.
He's a con and he's the 45th president of the U.S. Wow.
Yes, but then it's the people.
81 million people voted for him in 2016. 14% of black men voted for Donald Trump. 4% of black women voted for Donald Trump in 2016. In 2020, 19% of black men voted for Donald Trump and 14% of black women voted.
But anyway, it's almost like you don't even want to hear anything.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Considering the fact that the amount of people that voted for Donald Trump in 2016 significantly increased. So 9% of black men voted for Donald Trump in 2016, 4% of black women voted for him in 2016, 19% of black men voted for Donald Trump in 2020, and 14% of black women voted for Donald Trump, despite the fact of all these allegations that have been made. And the things that you're spewing about him, not once has Donald Trump ever been convicted of a crime.
Correct.
He's been sued through and through. He's worth $2.8 billion. He is the 45th president of the United States. I voted for him in 2016. I voted him for 2020. I'm going to vote for him in 2024. You can find me at the polls at 2024. I was a delegate for the Republican Party in 2016 and a delegate in 2020 in my primary in my great state of Ohio. I have been voting Republican since I could vote. So please do not tell me that I am one of these people that just out of the blue just started voting Republican. I have been a lifelong Republican for a very, very long time. I'm a member of the Women's Republican Committee in my county. I'm also a member of the Republican National Committee. So please do not sit here and play with me and act as if I'm just some middle of the run over in the nighttime, Republican that doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I absolutely do. I've supported the Republican Party since the beginning. Since I could register to vote, I've supported the Republican Party. So I don't know where you're coming off telling me as a free American citizen in the United States of America that I cannot vote for whoever the fuck I want to vote for, especially when people my color fought for the right for people like you to even have a voice back in the 1800s, back in the early 1900s, back in the 1960s,
and you're going against it,
back in the
and you're going
1980s,
against everything. You're going against everything. But anyway,
ended up into the 2000s.
you're going against everything. But hold on, can I say something?
Right for black people to vote in America, and you're going to sit here and tell me that I do not have the right to vote for who I want to vote for, and I somehow have to vote Democrat? Come on, dude.
Hold on, NY. But someone in the comment section is saying that you're mistaking her for Chaos. Who's Chaos, by the way?
No, I'm talking about Maud, nigga. I know Maud, bro. I know her, bro.
Oh, okay.
And anybody that knows me, one of my first profile pictures has a fuck Joe Biden hat. I have a Let's Go Brandon hat. I've got a sweatshirt that says Ultra MAGA. I've got a pink sweatshirt that I wear in my videos that say MAGA. I have been MAGA since the inception, bro.
I'm gonna send it to you a
I don't know
message.
what you're talking
But
about.
okay,
You can't
all right.
find
Okay, you do that, NY. You do that, but
I was trying to find the live.
sure. Okay, hold on, NY. But I do have a question for you. So just to echo what MOD said. I mean, she's been. I did interview her. She told me that she's been a long life Republican supporter. But the data is showing, however, that the Black community and Latino community are going more for the Republican Party, specifically President Trump. What is your take about those numbers? That the numbers continue to increase shouldn't go the opposite way, according to what you're saying.
I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell the truth about that. To me, it's been very stressful. I'm not lying. Look, I'm not the type
of stressful.
Look. Listen to me. I'm not the type of guy that goes on live and talk to people and shit like that. I always keep to myself. To be honest, I'm not a social media person. I'm not like that. But in another note, since we know this man in New York, and to me, the lies and everything that people fall behind this man over nothing, over what, over nothing, and not only that, I see how uneducated and how dumb and easily people are so easily fooled
So
by
are you
lies.
saying
Wait,
that
wait,
the
wait,
black
wait, wait, hold
community
up.
and
By
Latino
lies.
community are
Wait, wait, wait,
uneducated?
wait, wait. Wait, by lies over nothing. But anyways, let me finish my point. Let me land the plane.
But
Let me land the
you're not
plane.
answering the question though.
What?
I asked you what is your take that the data is showing an uptrend of Latino and black voters going for President Trump. What's
Um,
your response to that?
well,
Host, he doesn't have an answer. Come on now.
I'm gonna stand on my truth. I'm gonna stand well. I'm gonna. I don't care about the polls and shit like that. But then I'm gonna stand on my truth. I'm against authority. I'm against dictatorship. I'm against the lies. I'm against the all this shit that this man is accused of being. I'm against this man. I don't like him. Point blank.
So you're against everything the mainstream media is
No,
accusing
that's
him of
fake.
being.
Fact. Fact. Listen, we know this man from the 90s. He's been, listen to me. Check this out. This man, females has been coming out since the 90s against him. We know that. We know that. We know that, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
But
but NY, you did say that he's a dictator. How is it a dictator if he left office in 2020? Please explain.
he did not leave office peacefully, bro. He committed an insurrection in this country, bro. That never
How
happened. Who did it? Wait, hold up. Let me ask you a question. Who from the past president? Who has done anything like he did, bro? And then
he didn't leave peacefully? So
no, he
what
did
was it, a
not.
civil war in 2020?
Say what?
You said he didn't leave peacefully. So did we have like a civil war in
There was
2020?
January 6th. I let January 6th speaks for itself. I'm not gonna get into the bullshit. I let that happen. Who has done that before? Who? Which president? Tell me who? Yo, Event. What's his name? John Kerry in Florida. He he won. He won. And guess what? He he left peacefully. And I'm just
I
sitting
mean,
there. I
Trump
don't
left
know.
peacefully. Trump left peacefully. For you to come here and tell me, I'm a Venezuelan American, tell me that he's a dictator. I know what a dictator is.
Trump flip
And
what?
a dictator is not someone that left office.
What?
That's not a dictator. He left office.
Well,
No, he did not. He committed an
He
insurrection.
did not leave
Before he left
office?
the office, he knew he lost. He lost. He knew he lost the election. Janet Ellis, all of them testified against him, knowing that he lost it. What are we
they did.
talking
They
about?
never testified
What
against
they
him.
said that
His case
they
hasn't been
said that
adjudicated yet.
they said in their
I mean,
testimony
you're
in their
spewing
te-
lies here because she
in
never
their
testified against him
testimony
because
in their
Trump,
testimony
NY,
they
Trump's case has
claimed
not
that
even
he
been heard
lost.
yet, and they're not even estimating his
They
hurt.
claimed
His
that
case
he
will be heard
knew that
until
he lost the
2025.
election. Even
You're lying.
Mark Meadows is
All right. All right,
corroborating
anyway.
Nobody
this,
has
All right.
bro.
All right,
testified
anyway.
against him.
I let you speak. I want to let Fafo answer here. He just joined. He's been waiting. Go ahead. Welcome, Fafo.
Oh no, I'm just enjoying the absolute shit show that this guy thinks he has facts on. So I'm on y'all's side. Trump train all the way.
Of course, you fucking traitor.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa,
My
whoa,
bad. I
whoa.
apologize.
So
I
no,
can't.
you're gonna
I gotta
call.
drop you. I gotta drop you
Hold
for
on.
that. You
He's gonna
can't do
call a
personal
vet.
attacks. You
He's
can't
gonna
do
call
personal
a vet.
attacks.
He's gonna call a vet a
Yeah,
fucking traitor.
Donald Trump actually picked up in his home state, nearly picked up 60% of the votes. He flipped 19 counties in the state of New York.
Yeah, I
In
mean
20
that's what I was telling NY, that the uptrend continues to show that Latinos and blacks are going for President Trump. And a lot of things that that the Black and Latino community are against, or are the data is showing, they are tired of identity politics. And NY continues to repeat a lot of the things the mainstream media has been saying about President Trump without any proof. He's a dictator. He caused an insurrection, but he left office. And they're blaming him for a speech where he clearly said peacefully. And there's nothing wrong with saying that we're going to, do a peaceful protest. Nothing wrong about that. I do want to welcome to the panel. Is it Mima? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Mima. I was going to say to him, he obviously lived in New York. Well, according to his little title there that he had up there, but I'm watching quite a few different people that run different podcasts, and I live just outside of Chicago, and there are so many of them that are, especially from the Black community, that are just fed up. They're fed up, and they're voting red, and they're all collaborating together this year. They're not voting blue anymore because they're done.
They're done. Yeah, they are done with identity politics. They're seeing what their decision of picking these Democrats have brought to their communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank you, Mima. Go ahead, Kraken. We're going to end this soon, by the way. Go ahead, Kraken. Welcome to the panel.
Hey, how's everybody going? How's everybody doing?
Host, if you're cool with it, I'd like to bring up a fact break after he's done.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Kraken.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was watching the other day Biden's speech at the church down in North Carolina or South Carolina. And, he started the rhetoric like the biggest thing that our country's facing is white supremacy. Like all he's doing is dividing everybody even more. He's making problems out of problems that aren't there. I mean, yeah, there's true.
Correct.
That's a problem.
Identity politics. That's what they're good at.
Right. And also, before Trump ran for office, everybody loved him. Everybody was his friend. As soon as he became president, which nobody thought was going to happen, the attack started. I've never seen, the past 4 years have been the crappiest in the past 8 years. I don't know how anybody that doesn't see that, you know what I mean? Obviously.
Oh, no, they see it.
Kraken,
they see it. The thing is that the mainstream media doesn't highlight it. But anybody you talk to, most people will tell you FJB all the way. They're tired of it. They're really tired of it. But the mainstream media is not going to highlight that, though. It's not convenient for them. It's not. They keep promoting that Biden has a majority. But we know it's not the truth. We know.
Yeah, there's more people here are coming together more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see unity in this country more than ever, and I love it. I'm more proud to be an American now than I've ever been. I'm so happy to see everybody coming together.
People are. I mean, you can see the YouTube comments, the TikTok comments. I mean, people are just tired of it. And you're right. People even that voted for Biden. I'm saying, I'm not doing this again.
Maybe it took something like Biden's last 4 years to make something like this happen. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it took.
Correct. Yes. Thank you, Kraken. Go ahead, Fafo. I do have to drop you, Kraken, as I'm ending here soon. Go ahead, Fafo.
All right, so the fact I wanted to bring up right quick, I mean, it's tied to another fact I'm pretty sure y'all already know, but it has to go along the lines of HBCUs. One fact that everybody on the left will completely disregard is the fact that the money that Trump put into HBCUs was actually a permanent increase of $255 million a year from the previous numbers. Now, the numbers that Biden's admin actually put into HBCUs this time around is a one-time deal. Nothing in the policy that this admin put down for HBCUs says permanent increase. But if you go back to what Trump did, it actually states the very word permanent increase. It's right there.
So this is per the Trump White House Archives.gov. President Trump made permanent commitment of $255 million in annual funding for historically black colleges and universities. And he increased funding for the federal Pell Grant program by signing the Future Act in 2020. President Trump created the 1776 Commission, ensuring that every American child learns that they live in the greatest, most exceptional nation in the history of the world.
Thank you. That's a fact.
Okay. NY, I'm bringing you up again, but you have to be respectful if you want to reply to what Fafo said.
Respectful, and I appreciate the fact that you bring an op into the maggots here. But hold up, I want to say one thing, man. I just don't understand how this country has gotten to this level. What are we? Look, I'm cool with you guys vote. I don't care about Republican or Democrats. I'm cool with you guys vote on somebody that's actually great, that represent this country. But I'm still trying to understand, what are we doing? What is it about this man? What is it about this man, bro? I'm sick of this shit. What is it about this man that is so... that's crazy.
So, NY, just to bring up a point from someone that said earlier, I'm not sure if it was Fafo or Kraken. What's your take on all of these rappers and all of these celebrities love Trump before 2016?
No, they don't.
They don't.
You said
he's in songs.
2016, but then we see how...
No. NY, you're not answering the question. What is your take about all of these celebrities that loved Trump before 2016?
Trump was not...
Don't tell me that they didn't, because there's footage, there's songs, there's...
I didn't hear the part you said 2016, but then now knowing...
Yeah, before 2016.
About knowing Trump, bro, knowing this man is... everybody around this man goes to jail. Everybody pled guilty to something.
You're not answering the question once again.
All right, but then I'm trying to get to I'm trying to land the plane. Everybody around this man is going to jail, bro. Yo, come on, man. What are we doing?
So how does that answer the question?
All right. Listen, we didn't know Trump before. We didn't know Trump.
You said we knew who Trump is because I'm from New York. I'm from New York too, the New York area too, by the way. You said when you got here, we all knew who he was. He was a con, he was this, he was that. So why did they love him before he ran for president?
With that type of power, we didn't know what the man's gonna be like. But we see how much he corrupted everybody around him, me.
But you're contradicting yourself, because you're saying that you knew, you've been knowing about Trump. Everybody from New York been knowing about Trump. But everybody in New York loved him before 2016.
Listen to me. Everybody knew Trump was a crook, but then their own business way. You feel me? But now that he got power, became a president, and we see how crazy this man is. And then the people still voting for him. This is the shit that gets me crazy. I don't get it. You don't like your country. Anybody.
I have a qualifying question. Do you trust the government?
You see, no, it's not about the government. You see, that's the thing.
No,
but can you answer the question? And why you don't answer any questions?
The government works his way.
It really doesn't.
Listen to me. I just want to, bro. I'm tired.
Can you just answer the question?
Listen, I will answer.
Over and over again.
I'm just sick.
Do you trust the government?
Listen.
Do you believe that the government prosecutes people fairly? Do you think they treat people fairly? The criminal justice system, the government,
especially us, our type. Of course they don't.
Of course they don't. So then why in this instance do you trust that what they're doing to Trump is fair?
But then you vouching.
If they're not fair, fair to black and brown Americans, then why all of a sudden are they being fair to Trump?
Maud, won't you vouch?
Answer the question.
Maud, I'm gonna answer the question. Maud, won't you vouch for the people like us? Won't you vouch for them? You stand for them.
All right, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Trump, and now you want to start talking about black people.
Listen
my question.
to me.
Answer my question, bro.
Vega, this man has never.
But you're not answering, and why? Let's be fair.
I'm gonna answer.
You're obfuscating.
This man
if you don't believe that the system is fair against black and brown Americans, why do you think that they're being fair to Trump? What makes them being fair to Trump?
This man has never been held accountable for nothing. He's done
Maybe he
so
hasn't done
much
anything
wrong,
that he
and we
needs to be held
vouching for him,
accountable
man. No,
for.
we
What
actually
if he's not?
we
What if he
actually going.
hasn't done anything that he
We
needs to
are
be
actually.
accountable
You
for?
see what she's saying right now is contradictive because you going against.
It's
We're going
you've
against
been
ourselves.
contradicting yourself all night, and you've never answered a single question. You be sitting here trying to school us, and you're a whole ass corrections officer that doesn't know anything about the law, but you presuppose that you can come in here and tell someone who's been practicing law for the last 15 years about the law. You didn't know what a fucking RICO charge was, and now you're sitting here telling me. You're telling me who to vote for, but yet you
What has
don't
he
have
done for you?
any sort of, you
What
have
has he
no
done for you?
sort of
Name me a
idea of
policy.
how to argue a valid point.
Name me a policy.
Okay,
But then
he
now
did
you
ask
can't answer any sort of question.
as
You
a
can't.
policy, and why a policy from Trump that you want to pull up, and why asked. If you have one,
Sorry, I'll keep the question
Fafo
short,
did.
but I mean, my
Fafo
cuss like
did
a
bring one.
sailor.
Fafo did bring one up about the education one.
She knows I'm telling the truth, bro. She knows. Yo, Ma, you know I'm telling
You're
the
not
truth, bro.
telling the truth, and
Listen.
I am not going to placate to your delusions.
No,
You're not going to sit here and
I'm
tell
not.
an educated person speaking to an uneducated individual about what it means to be an American or anything about the way that this system works. If you're spouting and running around here saying how unfair the government is, but then somehow or another you for some reason know that Donald Trump is being treated fairly, please explain to me how that pontificate that for me in the best possible way without using ad hominem attacks or going to race. Please explain to us how if the system is not fair in one sense to black and brown individuals, how is it being fair to Donald Trump? Explain that.
All right, so now they have evidence against this man. So now we must hold them accountable for what we have. Look, you're not gonna bring. You're not
Answering my question.
I'm answering the
If the
question.
system is
You're
not
not gonna
fair
bring
to
any.
people that they
Listen,
consider their enemy, then
I'm
how are they
telling
being
you.
fair to Donald Trump?
Hey, MOD, hang on a second. What evidence have they brought up, man? I would like to know. Because to me,
Oh, the 91 felony indictment. I mean, the
That's
91
not
felony and the
evidence.
4 indictments. Let me tell you something. Audio tape and everything is
What's the evidence?
available. It's available.
What
Matter
is
of
the
fact, I'll give you a
evidence?
case right now.
I've spent 2 hours going through the evidence in the RICO case
Yes.
because I know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You tell me a piece of key evidence in any one of these cases that makes you believe that he's guilty.
And why?
I'm gonna
And
tell you right
why?
now. All
And
right,
why?
now,
You really need to.
hold
You
up.
really
Let me-
need to
let me
seek
get-
out
let
this
me- let me
information
get to that.
properly.
Yo, hold up. Let's get to that. Let's get to that. All right, boom. First off, the people who pled guilty and cooperated against them, right?
They have not
Oh,
testified against him.
No, you cannot say that. You see, that's the bullshit.
Yeah, I
bro.
can't say
That's
that
the
because you
bullshit.
made that
see,
claim and
that's
it's
the shit,
false.
bro. I hate that, bro.
They have not
Don't do that.
testified. And
Don't
what
do
and what
that.
hearing did they
Don't
testify
do
on?
that,
What
Ma.
date?
Ma,
What date
don't
did
do
they
that.
testify against
Mama,
Trump?
don't do that.
What date?
Sweetheart,
I'm
don't
not
do
your
that to me,
mama.
bro.
I'm not your mama. Answer
Okay.
my question. On what date did they testify against Trump? What
Yo,
date?
I'm supposed to know
They
the
didn't.
dates that they testify and all that shit. I'm not following the
They
cases
have
like
not
that.
testified
But I'm
against
gonna
Trump
tell you
at
right
all
now,
because his case
I'm
is
waiting for him
not
to go to
scheduled to
jail.
begin
I'm waiting to
until
lock him up. I'm
until
waiting to put
this
the
year.
cuffs on his hands.
Okay, Trump.
Can
I
I
and
say
why?
something?
Remember that we discussed the First Step Act, that you actually acknowledged that Trump did something good for the black community.
All right, we did. Yeah. Look,
Because
I'm not
you
saying the
asked
man.
earlier to name you a policy, so I have you on my
That's all
previous
you
live
guys
where
have.
you admitted that Trump did something good for the black community.
That's all you guys have. What else?
No. But doesn't that go against your
actually brought up something
what you're
else.
saying here, that he
You
just
brought
is
that up.
completely bad all over the place?
But then at the end of the day, check
Right.
this out.
I don't want to say the R word, but you know what I
And
mean.
why? And
This
why?
is my problem
And
with
why?
this thing.
I brought something else up
Let me
that
finish,
you
let me finish.
obviously are
Listen,
not listening
let
to.
me land this. Let me just say this. This is my problem with him. The people that's around him. We're talking about Stephen Miller. We're talking about Steve Bannon. Those are known white supremacists that knows
You
how
have
to play the
nothing.
government,
You
bro.
have no
Against
way to
us, B.
substantiate any
Okay.
of the claims that you're making.
And why you're going to the trust
You
me
better be
to the
glad
trust
none
me
of
to the
these
source
people
trust me
sue
bro
you.
again.
You
No,
better
did I
be
lie?
glad none of these people
Stephen
have
Okay.
the ability to sue you for
Stephen Miller and
defamation
Steve Bannon,
because
bro.
you're calling you have no proof of any
All
of
right.
these things, and you
I
better be
asked
glad
a
none of these
question.
people sue you for
Stephen Miller,
defamation.
and then we
Prove
have
it.
the oath
Prove that
keepers.
they're white
And then we have
supremacists.
the oath keepers. We have the 3%.
Prove that any of
Those
them are white
people are
supremacists.
not into
Prove it.
in our
Do you have any
favor.
source,
that
and
they're
why?
white
Do you have any
supremacists.
source?
Yes. Stand
Okay,
back
can you
and
pull it
stand
up?
What's
by.
the source?
I'll give you the
Stand
big
back
box.
and stand
Go
by.
ahead.
My
Show me the
source.
source.
Stand back and stand by.
That's not a white
That's
supremacist.
not that's
not
your
white
source.
supremacy.
Wow. Okay.
Stand back and
All
stand
right.
by.
Okay, hold on, because there's people waiting. Go
Okay.
ahead, Vintage. Go ahead.
Like this.
Well, I'm happy to be, welcome. And I'm really glad a lawyer is present. My question is, it's at the right and the left, but because this is more of a pro-Trump, group, my question is, as you defend him, which I'm not criticizing, I noticed that the party that should be for our natural constitutional rights is very distracted, and I'm concerned by that because I'm not relying on the left at this point to stand up for such. So I have to rely on the right for such. As an independent, I'm noticing very alarming trends, and I don't know if people notice or are just indifferent at this point. Our inability to grow our own plant medicine and food in our private spaces is being heavily regulated. Our fishing, our local communities, more and more regulated. There's actually a Supreme Court hearing about to go into place on this. Hunting, our shelter needs. What else? Oh, our ability to be autonomous with clean, fresh water, which we don't even know what that looks like, a living water system with all the dams. I mean, there's so much control over our water system, yet we hear scarcity. And there's going to be a lot of people that buy into all this. We already see it growing, at least vocally. I don't know about numbers per se, but they're very loud. They're very loud. So I'm just like, I just want to know where you're at with that. And is he going to lead us to, a more, it's fine that we have, technology and all this stuff looming, but that doesn't mean that our natural rights should be disappearing while this is happening. So what are your thoughts on that? I sincerely mean this. If you look at just our basic needs to survive, fire, the element of fire, no longer allowed in some states just to stay warm. Yet they want to regulate
No,
all other
that's more of a
energy.
Democratic thing.
I'm
He's
just
not
saying,
about.
like,
Yeah.
no, just so
So
please.
really quick.
I would love you, dragons, to speak. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Go
no
ahead,
problem.
Emodi.
So I actually agree with you on some of these points. I'm a naturalist. I have my own little garden outside, so I grow my own food, and I totally get what you're saying as far as being able to sort of regulate your own, food sources and your own water source and things like that. I'm a big proponent for things like that to happen. I'm all for deregulation in those areas, especially getting rid of agencies like the FDA that really don't. They talk about having a bunch of oversight, but it's a bunch of red tape and a bunch of bureaucracy. And so on the right, and a lot of us that are conservative, what we do want is that smaller government factor. We do want deregulation. We do want to get rid of some of these three-letter agencies that sort of hamper people's rights and abilities, right? And so I do know that Trump was for getting rid of a lot of the three-letter agencies, and some of the things that he fought for was to do that. But unfortunately, when you hit sort of these stalemates and you don't get the cooperation from Congress, that's not really an excuse, right? But at some point, we do have to hold our representatives.
Guys, please mute your mic.
All right. So at some point, we do have to hold our representatives accountable. Now, some of the things that you're speaking of are more, you kind of have to truncate it to what your local representatives are doing. So a lot of this, like, we look at it in the sense that, okay, we want the federal government to do something about it, but not all the time do we want the federal government to kind of overstep where they should overstep, and we should be able to, that kind of takes away from the accountability of the local administrations that are supposed to be responsible for these things. So rainwater collection is usually run by the city. The city puts in these regulations to do that, depending on where you live and depending on the party that's associated with that city. So if it's a Democrat city, and I've seen that actually more regulations for these sort of rainwater and all that other stuff in more Democrat cities. The further you go out to the more rural areas that are predominantly Republican, you don't really see that over regulation. So that really, the issue there is with the smaller government aspect, and you want to get with your city leaders, your county and your state and local representatives on dealing with those sort of state issues. It's really not a federal government issue. Like, I get what you're saying, but that's not really in the purview of what the president of the United States should be doing. Now, in order to help that along, we should be getting rid of the big 3-letter agencies like the FDA and these over-regulated agencies that sort of hamper the abilities for people to be able to do things like that on the local level. So my best advice to you is I wouldn't look to the federal government to solve those sorts of problems. The food sourcing and all that other stuff. If you really want to get more information about what they're doing, look at the USDA and things like that. But someone also brought up Obama's bill on the GMO. GMO has pretty much decimated any sort of like, thing where people actually want to grow their own food. And that's
Exactly.
kind of
Right.
that's kind of taking that over. Yeah, so I would venture to say your best place to start is locally and petitioning your local government to start moving towards greener spaces, allowing for rainwater collection, sort of maybe lobbying for those sorts of changes on the local level, because you're not going to get anybody in the federal government to listen to anything like that. But also your House of Representatives and your senators, get with them. You can call them and tell them, like, look, we're having issues in our local areas. This is what they're on Capitol Hill for.
Yep.
But looking for the president to do anything like that, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's in his purview. And but that's where we should be starting. And like I said,
And it really shouldn't be, right, MOD?
Can I ask you?
It really
No, it
shouldn't
shouldn't
be.
be that.
Hold on a
It
way.
shouldn't be
Yeah,
that.
because the Democrats have a track record of pushing for big government, and that's why I always say that those local elections are so important.
Let me ask a question.
So the president can never like sign an
Hold on,
executive
and why?
order.
Hold on. Go ahead, Vintage.
So I appreciate your
And why?
answer.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Some of that I like definitely already knew somewhat, but you made it so
Yeah.
much clearer. But as far as like executive order and a president, so they have no like jurisdiction over like acknowledging something's unconstitutional. Because I hear what you're saying with the local level, but
Yeah.
essentially the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So nobody should be violating it. So does the president
Right.
have any say over that if it's obvious?
Well, so let's just say Trump signs an executive order doing everything that you said. He's going to hit legal challenges as soon as that thing hits the news. As soon as the ink won't even be dry before somebody's filing a petition within the Supreme Court testing constitutionality, saying, "Hey, you violated the supremacy clause." The thing, like I said, the thing about it is what we would love for the president to do that, to make it a national standard. Then that way nobody can argue that. But unfortunately, the
Checks and
people that
balances.
don't like Trump, with the checks and balances, and you're guaranteed somebody doesn't like Trump, they're going to file a lawsuit and say, "Hey, you can't do that." Look at what happened with the Nord Stream. I'm sorry, the Keystone XL, right? And the Keystone Pipeline. He hit so many legal challenges. So did Obama. So did Biden. Okay, so and I get it, because especially they were concerned about environmental impacts and things like that. And like I said,
and giving the natives a
we would
voice,
want-
which none of us,
Right,
neither party
exactly.
seems to really pay attention to that unless the narrative
Right.
speaks to us and says, pay attention to this. But there's a lot that goes
Right.
on that no one's paying attention to in those spaces. So no, I appreciate you. Like, that's what I was wondering. Like,
Yeah.
so essentially just correct me if I'm wrong, and then I'll let someone else go because I don't want to hog up too much time. It's really interpretation. Like, I could bring this to my local, challenge it. Like, if I get like a ticket, for example, for growing something in my yard because of an ordinance that they can't even define because it's so silly.
Correct.
And then I go to the county and then I appeal it. If it keeps going up, essentially someone has to interpret if that is a violation of the Constitution. Is that how this works? If our rights are being violated, we have one choice: challenge it in court. Correct or incorrect?
Challenge that in court. You could always take it up to the highest court. Plenty of citizens petition. It's called a petition for writ of certiorari, and that's essentially petitioning the federal government to look at this and testing constitutionality. So if you have lawyers on your side, and you kind of go through the process to go through the entire court process, you file local, and then you kind of work its way up through the state, through the county, and work its way up to the state. And if that's a legal battle, sometimes you could get it to your state Supreme Court, right, where they could test it against their own constitution. Constitution, because to be honest with you, a lot of the problems in America are really the state constitutions. It's not even the Constitution itself, right? A lot of the state constitution and states laws are so antiquated and outdated, and in desperate need of update. That's one of the biggest legal issues and legal fumbles that happens a lot in the court system, is the fact that we have so many outdated laws, and so much of it needs to be reformed specifically on the state level. So I would venture to say I would start locally, at least. You can sort of bypass all that court action, petitioning your local representatives, your state house representatives, contacting them and letting them know, like, look, I'm prepared to take this all the way up to the state Supreme Court and even the United States Supreme Court if I have to. It is your job as a representative that I voted for to look at this, and let's try to do something to fix this. And if they don't do that, you can get a petition together, especially if it's a local if it's local politician, you get a petition together to have that person recalled, and do whatever you can to make the people that you put in office responsible, because it's their job to do things like that. And so I would just encourage more local activists, more activism in that regard, because these are the things that directly affect you on a day-to-day basis. And I'm a big proponent for doing it on the local level.
Me too,
I always tell
me
people, if you're
too.
going to vote locally.
That's where I
and deal
think
with
the
that
localization is everything. And this greenwashing
Sure.
and all this, like, it's growing. This beast is
Yeah.
growing by the day.
Absolutely.
So thank you so
Yep.
much, guys. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Vintage.
You're very
Quick
welcome.
question. You said you're an independent, correct?
I am. I've never registered with any party. I'm 49
Okay.
years old.
And you're still unsure when it comes to the 2024 election,
Well,
November?
I'd like to see I think some states don't even have till June when we're going to know who's on the ballot.
Right.
And some are TBA. So, I'd like to read up on everyone. And as an independent, I don't just like follow this two-party narrative. If we
Right.
want a multi-party system, we have to start to energize other ideas. If we want more influence with, other ideas, we have to change our behavior. And that really boils down to voting. I know it
Yeah.
might be painful for the first couple, especially local. Start getting these people in locally, because we should have more than a two-party choice. It's quite authoritarian if you really
Yeah.
think about it, having this two-party, and look at the division it's causing. It's a mess.
Where do you live, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what state?
No problem. New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually from there. I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, cool.
I couldn't hold it anymore. I got out.
Well,
I ran away. I'm in Nevada now.
I've had thoughts. Mulling a lot.
How do you do it,
around.
Vintage? No disrespect, but how do you do it?
I'm not doing it. I'm barely surviving, so I'm not doing it.
Oh,
it's
my
rough.
goodness.
It's been rough since 2020. Really.
Let me
really
tell
rough.
you, I love it here in Nevada. I bought a big
Is that where
home
you
and
are?
I'm having a good time. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna check.
I just couldn't do it anymore. Vintage, you're an independent voter, and your questions matter and your opinions matter because you're totally unbiased. I would love to have you back. Maybe we can do like a live, the three of us, you, MOD, and I, so we can discuss your ideas and also answer maybe some of your questions that we can answer and bring up sources to back up those answers. Would you like that?
I would love it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so if you can please message me as soon as you get off this live so we can set that up.
Okay, wonderful. Have a great
Okay.
night, guys.
Thank you, Vintage. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
MOD wouldn't mind doing that.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, guys, I do have to wrap this up in a few minutes, so I'm just going to give you a couple of words to just share your final statement here. Mima, go ahead. Mima, you got to unmute. Go ahead.
There we go. I just want nothing more to add because I know you guys got to go. I just wanted to thank you guys. It was a really great, informative night for everybody. You guys did a great job. Great job.
Thank you, Mima. I really appreciate that.
Thank you guys.
I want to
Thank you.
before I leave.
Hold on. Yeah, I will get to you. Give me 1 second. Fafo, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a few things I wanted to say, but it's all good. First off, thanks for letting me get on here. Secondly, there's a lot of things that we all need to come to agreement on, I think, especially as American citizens. First off, regardless of what anybody thinks, both sides of the spectrum are a problem. It's not just one. I'd also like to add that we need to start trying to treat each other with more respect, but at the same time, we also need to wake people up to the fact of the only way shit's gonna get done is by doing it your damn self. Like, it's stop relying on somebody. None of us who support Trump think that Trump's gonna be the only one to save this country. We all recognize that it's not gonna be him, it's gonna be him and us, all of us. It takes us all. With people are what gets things done. The government just tries to pull the reins. That's it. It's about time that we pull the reins back on the government and tell them what they're allowed to do, and not the other fucking way around, the way this country was built in the first place. So that's what I wanted to leave with.
I want to say one thing.
I appreciate that, Fafo, and thank you for joining, by the way. I really appreciate your time. And why? Okay, go ahead.
All right, so before I leave, man, you know, I'm a single father, and to me, you know, that type of president is not a role model for my 9-year-old son. And this, even him, he looks at him, he's like, what is he? He laughs about him, whatever, but that's him. But to me, at the end of the day, us grown people, and I just don't understand the fact that we look beyond what this man has caused, the lies, the division about this man. We look beyond that and choose this man. And to me, you know, I you know, there's so many people that's like you said before, so many people that love this man. Yes, they do, man. A lot of people love this man. Even the race, the people that hate me love him. The people that hate my kind loves him. But you know, I'm gonna stand on the truth. I'm gonna stand for my son, and I'm gonna stand for every brown and black and good families and white too. Good families, to get the truth, to be honest about this country, to be honest. That's all I want. And MOD, I just want to ask you one question. What are you conserving?
My rights in America.
Can you repeat that again, MOD? I couldn't hear you. I don't know if it's...
I'm conserving my rights to vote as a Republican in America.
But what is there for you to conserve?
What is there for me to conserve?
What are you conserving?
So I'm capitalist. I like to conserve my money.
You see?
I also like to
It's
conserve my right to
it's
vote.
always,
I'm for the nuclear family.
it's always,
I like
about me,
yeah. Why ask me a question and then talk
No,
in the
because I
middle?
knew what you was gonna say. It's always about me,
Okay. Yeah, it's about me.
But what is that and why? You ask a question and you're like, well, I know what you're going to say, so I'm just going to interrupt.
Yeah,
I mean, is that how you communicate and why?
Yeah, I'm not required to care about anyone else except for those that
there's
I
a
take
thing.
care of in my family.
You see,
I'm not
that's all I
required to
wanted.
take care of
That's
anyone
all.
else.
Look, Vega,
But since I'm such
Vega.
but such
This
a
is
since
all
I'm
I
such a
wanted
great
her to say. This is
yeah,
honesty.
I don't
You
make any
see,
qualms.
it's all
I make
about
no
me,
I have
me,
no
not the
regrets
community,
about being the way that I
not the
am.
community, but me,
No.
me.
The
That's
community. I don't have to do
selfish.
anything. I don't have to do
Selfish to
anything
me.
for a
You
community.
see?
I
Look
don't
at
have
that.
to. I'm
You
not
see that?
required to.
You see
I'm
that?
not.
You-
I
I
do it
got
out of the
it. I
kindness of
got
my
it.
own heart.
That's what it is with MAGA. I got it, bro. That's all
Okay.
it is
So if you
about.
wanted to call me selfish, you should have just said that in the beginning. I have no problem with
But
saying
why?
that.
Let me tell you something. What can you share? What can we just?
Why do I need to share? Why do I need to share my resources?
No, not your resources, but at least your ideas. At least get people to
What
be
makes
better.
it that I am? I have 26,000 followers, bro. I'm sharing. I am literally sitting here doing this for free.
You got 26,000 followers.
I am giving out information. I post so much content for free. I don't get paid for this. I spread a message of truth to all of my followers, and people follow me for that. 26,000 people.
Yo, look, let me tell you
Okay,
something. One thing
I have
about
two
me.
accounts. One of my other has 18,000 followers.
One,
Okay, I spend my time coming on here week after week, giving people information that I don't get paid for and I don't ask to get paid for. I am spreading the truth to people.
One thing about
I
me, I
am
don't
giving
vote.
I am giving people, just like that lady. I don't know her from Adam. She asked me a question and I gave her the best advice that I could give her.
Let me ask you a
I
question.
don't
Does
have
that
to come
answer your
on here and
question
be
and
here.
why? I mean,
Right.
I cannot stay here for another
I don't
hour.
have
Does that
to.
answer your question?
So
I
yo,
don't
listen,
have to
see,
though.
Vegas, since you have to leave, but yo, keep me in mind, man. I'm always gonna be the op. I'm always gonna come here, and I got love for you. I appreciate you, Vega.
Look,
I
I
used to
don't mind
hate
you
you in the
having a
day.
difference of opinion. My only issue is when you come here insulting other people and then you're trying to say
I
that you love your
apologize for
community.
that. I get mad. I'm from New York. We get mad, bro.
I'm from New York too. I know.
You from New
I'm
Jersey.
straightforward too, but
You from New
you know
Jersey. You
that
different. You different. Your attitude is not like us. But I apologize for my mistake. But
it's not
Yeah,
that.
anyway,
just so you
Go
know,
ahead and
hey,
60%
MOD.
of
MOD,
60% of the counties in New York actually voted for Trump in 2016 and in 2020. So just so you know,
MOD.
he carries 60% of New York.
MOD. I'm gonna follow you,
Just say,
and I will
well, you
always.
can't because I actually blocked you out of my live. So.
Oh Lord.
You see, I told you. Yo, wait, Vega, before you leave. You see, I told you she know me, right? And so now she did not like what she said.
Yeah, but nothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I'm just
that's
saying.
true. Yo, MOD, yo, can you unblock me?
I love MOD. She's very
I'm
straightforward.
conserving my
Yeah, MOD,
right
can
to
you
do
unblock
that.
me?
No, I'm conserving my right to not unblock.
Is that what you're conserving MOD? I love it.
Yeah.
Because she knows I'm a follower ass, bro. But anyways,
And
we
why?
gotta
And why? Look. Honestly, you should seek information, buddy.
no,
You know, every
no,
time we speak, you come here and you make these accusations against Trump and you have no substance. I ask you
the
for
thing is,
specifics
I'm
and you
not
don't
gonna,
provide
oh,
them.
you know what? Next, this is what I'm gonna do, right? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
Okay,
get
but hold on,
my
NY, but you admit you come unprepared. You admit that.
I don't have my computer in front of me like everybody else. Everybody does that. They got the computer. They go to
Okay,
the
but you do come
Google.
unprepared,
Like
correct?
that's what you do. Keep it a buck. Am I lying? You go to let me check this out. Right? Come on, be honest.
Be honest, what?
You go to your computer all the time when you gotta fact check shit, right?
You gotta seek information.
Hell yeah,
Absolutely.
I do too. But you
But
have
you're stating a lot of things that are
MOD,
not true.
am I lying? Are you in front of your computer right now?
No, my computer is down, but I
You
do.
lying. That's a lie.
No, my computer is
I don't
down.
believe
It's
that. I don't believe that. She
11:21.
lied. She capped.
No,
That's a
it's.
cap.
I'm
Yeah,
literally
but
laying
it
here in my
doesn't matter
bed.
if you have your computer or not.
It is
At least when you bring up a point, I hope that you know what you're talking about and you can reference a source at least. Doesn't mean that I'm asking you
Yeah,
to quote it
you've
word for word.
been listening for 2 hours. You could have had plenty of time to follow along.
Yo, but MOD, everything you said was straight up bull. You know that.
How and
Okay, I
why?
mean that's your opinion.
And why?
What?
By the way, did you join the live from the beginning or when did you join?
I was listening when I was with my son in the car, whatever. I had to put him to sleep and shit.
No,
For
that's
work.
fine, but I'm not asking you where you were. I'm asking you were you listening from the beginning?
Yes, I have. I was listening from the beginning. Everything she said was pretty much
So
bullshit.
you heard and you maybe you watched that we pull out the sources, the documents, and everything,
I've
right?
seen everything, but then everything she said is look, like I told you, they're all sealed indictments that we don't know about, and everything she tried to debunk is totally untrue.
There's no seal. We
It's
never
totally
talked about sealed
untrue.
indictments.
Everything she's trying to debunk is bull.
None of the
Let me tell you something.
indictments are
There are
sealed.
people who pled guilty. Let me tell you one thing about
Oh my goodness. Do we have to go through this again?
They're
I'm
not
sorry.
sealed, and why? And why they're not
she
sealed?
knows the truth, bro.
There's no proof.
She
No,
knows.
that's
There-
not correct. If they were sealed, they would have said, "Hey, this is sealed." There's nothing
All right.
sealed, at least when it
Let me
comes
tell
to what we were talking about.
I'm,
The only
I'm
thing that
gonna-
is sealed, by the way, is what's his name?
They're all
MOD
sealed
Nathan.
documents, brother. Yo, ask MOD. MOD, all that sealed
Uh,
document.
so the only thing that was a sealed document was Nathan Wade's divorce case.
And why was it sealed,
my
MOD?
God,
Oh,
that's what
why do
she
you think it
said.
was
We
sealed?
still don't know.
You
It's
think
highly unusual, and it's
they're gonna
probably
put everything out to the
because they don't
Do you
because
honestly think
they
they're gonna put
Let her
probably
talk,
didn't.
NY. Let her talk. Why was it sealed, MOD? Or you think? Why would you think it was sealed?
I think that he probably did not want people to know the reason why he was getting divorced, and maybe some of the allegations. It could have been just to protect his image as
Right.
well, and her answer would have been
Oh
sealed as well,
my
because if he made any
God.
sort of allegations
Right.
against him having extramarital affairs with Fannie Willis,
Right.
that would be in her answer.
All right.
Right.
So I have the Georgia, access to their court records, so that's how I got the brief. And so I'm diligently waiting, and I will get a notification as soon as they become unsealed.
Got it. And why? Last question for you, because I do have to go. We're over an hour here. I wanted to do 2 hours, 2:30, but we're already over 3 hours. Do you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome?
No, but I suffer. I no, but I know the fact.
I mean,
that
it's a fair question because your username says NY hates Trump, so it is a fair question.
Yes, yes, I appreciate that, but I know the fact that this man gets back in office, man. Yo, this man gets back in office. My God, listen. One thing I'm gonna say before I leave. Look, I remember y'all faces. I remember who you guys are. When he messed up, when he mess up in office, when he does the unthinkable in office, please stand on your truth with this man. Please stand. I remember you guys stand right now. I see you in my. I see where you guys stand. So when
Anyway, you don't even have to remember all of these episodes. By the way, I have to do the plug since you said that. Are going to be posted on my YouTube channel at Vega Access. So it's right there on the record.
All right, thank you. Put that on. You'll stand on this man. Stand with the boat. Stand with the unthinkable he's gonna do in office. Stand with that. That's all I gotta say.
Got it. Okay. All right, sounds good. NY, thank you. By the way, NY, maybe send me a message. You said you were going to send me a video or something. So please provide that proof that you were talking about before.
Yeah. I'm trying to, because I recorded. I'm gonna tell you right now. I recorded MOD talking about that. I don't care about Trump. I don't give a damn about Trump. This, that's, and the third. I don't care. She never said I'm not gonna vote for Trump, nothing like that. She said I don't care about Trump. F Trump. That's what she said. I got that.
All right. She said that you're incorrect.
I gotta go through my phone.
But
gotta go through my phone and find it, because I recorded her saying that. That's one thing I do.
all right. Well, anyway, if you can find the sources of what actually you said about Trump, please send that to me. That would be more crucial. That I want to know your sources. I really want to see where you're getting your information from.
All right.
You know.
So if I send that to you, right? So now,
how about this? Look, if you send me some sources, how about this? If you send me some sources, I'll bring you to the show as a special guest where we can have a discussion about Trump. Is that okay with you?
Thank you. But then I want Maude to be there too. So she's staying on what she said.
Well, I can make her come. I mean, I'll ask if she wants to join, but I'm not going to order her to be present.
She has to come to the show when I bring the tape that I recorded her from.
All right. We'll talk about that later. Just send me the message and then we'll talk about that later. Thank you, NY.
All right.
Oh, boy. MOD. Yeah. MOD. You want my life to get caught.
There you go.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. This is all for entertainment purposes only. And pure speculation. Oh my goodness.
Listen, if
MOD.
there was a recording of me saying F Trump, do you know how many people would have unfollowed me?
Oh my goodness.
I have never said that about Trump. Like, come the hell on.
Oh my Lord. You see, guys, this is why you guys have to follow us and keep track of our lives, because we have a good time here. You know, even though we do encounter certain difficulties, but we still come through and we have a good time.
Oh, absolutely.
Jen said, Vega, you love to torture us. Oh, man. MOD, thank you again. So let's see if we can do this tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. And then let's do another of these indictments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people are enjoying this, having a good time with this, and we're
Yeah.
learning a lot. By the way, guys, I'm a finance guy, so I love to have MOD as legal take on all of this stuff. I'm more about data and numbers, and that's my field. But I'm good about patterns, and the patterns that I'm looking into here are just very disturbing, in my opinion. So I just love to have MOD and break everything down here when it comes to the legality of these indictments, right? So let's go, Brandon, right?
Absolutely. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, MOD. Again, this will be posted on YouTube. I'll try to post it right now, but if not, within the next couple of days. It was amazing. I'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow, MOD.
All right. We'll see you then.
Have a good night. Thank you,
All right,
guys. Have a good one. Please
Bye.
follow.